Go. I do believe we're live, so I'll say indeed. And greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. What a dear pleasure it is to have you here again on another conscious evolution. Another opportunity for us to find ourselves present again, participating in the practice of preserving hope. Bye-bye, Zo. Can I film you too?
Bye. You want to say bye-bye?
No, she's sweeties.
Bye-bye. Yeah, say bye-bye. Close enough.
Love you too.
Bye-bye.
Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Aww. Isn't that sweet? Yes. The practice. Initially, I had my title set as the strength. The strength it takes to maintain hope. To keep your hope. But then I realized that it's not really a strength thing. It's not about strength at all. And maybe in using the word strength, I might alienate, make feel unseen, unrelatable to some who might not consider themselves strong. So instead, I titled it as practice instead. It takes practice to maintain hope. It doesn't take strength. You can be the weakest person on planet Earth, and if you keep practicing the process of hope, I do believe that you'll get good at it. What does that look like, you might be wondering? I think we'll discuss that a little bit today. I think there's many different ways to practice hope. And I do believe that we ebb and flow in our ability. The same way as we practice on our yoga mats, the same way as we practice our art, the same way as we practice pretty much any skill that we can compare, right? Befores and afters, thens versus nows. All of these things do have a little bit of variation in them, where things might not always be as easy, things might not always come as quick. You might not feel like you have the creativity, you might not feel like you have the ability. However, there's still value in practicing. I've been thinking about the future a lot. You know, especially as it relates to this American experience I'm having right now. There's a lot of fear-mongering going on in the media these days about all of these changes that are to come. If you're not being fear-mongered about the $40+ trillion of debt, then you're being fear-mongered about the data centers. If it's not data centers, then it's the actual robots. If it's not the actual robots, then it's the wealth inequality that they might continue to beget. If it's not the wealth inequality, it might be the inability for you to access, right, the resources that are. Thinking about it from a perspective of almost like the way I see it as trying to keep you preoccupied, right? Trying to make sure that you don't get to practice a hopeful state. In our room, I think, next to your bed, or side of the bed, I should say. Welcome to America. Have you experienced your daily dose of terror? Nope. Nope. Yay.
Don't leave the house. How can you experience anything? You know?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. The most terrifying thing in this house is me. Indigo is joining us as well. Hello, Indigo. Welcome, dear friends. Thank you for joining me. Today's topic, the little stone we're going to be polishing over and over again, Norbert, is the topic of hope. Yeah. Love you, my darling. You on your way? See you soon. The topic of hope and the fact that you have to practice it. That hope is something you practice. Maybe you can let me know if you believe this. Initially, the way I have this stream titled is that the strength it takes to maintain hope. Right? Because I felt egoically that I am strong. I am strong. I'm strong. And that's why I have so much hope. However, I don't think it's true. I think I'm strong still, but I don't think it takes you to be strong in order for you to have hope. What I do think it takes is for you to practice. To practice a lot. Let me see the exact title. Yeah. The practice it takes to hope. Not the strength it takes. Right? Because again, I think that there are people, maybe you know some of them, that seem to maintain a state of hope no matter the circumstances. Right? If you go and learn about the Stoics, they had a lot of teaching around that particular topic. Let me do something like that. Can you give me the most practical and thoughtful quotes from the Stoic era, any of the big Stoics, about how hope is a practice, not a strength, and what hope looks like in a society that can see it changing? I wanted to say other words, but I think change is soft. The ancient Stoics had a view of hope that often shocks people today. They didn't see hope as a warm, fuzzy strength or a virtue. Instead, they saw conventional hope as a dangerous trap. Am I gonna get schooled right now? I was gonna talk about hope and stuff. Come on, Stoics. Come on, no, don't do this to me. A dangerous trap? Hope is a dangerous trap, a form of mental suspension that ties your well-being to things you cannot control, naturally breeding its shadow twin, fear. Oh, damn. I think we're gonna learn some stuff. Hi, love, from Colorado. Hello to you too, Anon. Last night I proposed to a girl in the club, thinking how bad it could be. The worst she could say is no. Well, maybe that's what you need, bro. Maybe you found the exact person that you're looking for. Maybe you just have to be more open-minded, Anon. Maybe that's what you need, dude. To the Stoics, passive hope. I think it's both, to be honest. I think it's practice when it's not natural, and it's strength when shit is blatantly bad, honestly. I think that is a good point that you're making, actually, Indigo. I wonder, and I probably will see your belief confirmed. Whew! This is a fair bit. But I think we can take a moment to learn. Oh, come on. Yeah, none. Yeah. Open your mind. Let your mind be open. Not here for that. Me too. All right. But I am going to school you. There's things for you to learn even in your bigotry. To the Stoics, passive hope is a weakness because it relies on external outcomes. True hope, if it exists at all in Stoicism, is an active, daily discipline. Okay, boom. We're back in line. That is what I'm talking about. Yeah. I can see, bro. Mind is still closed. However, if what you're saying is in fact true, and you did ask this person to marry you, then clearly there's something that attracted you to that person. right? Whether they're man or woman, it's okay. It's okay to be a little gay. We'll keep letting you know. Sir, I am the king of the world. Cheers to you, world king. The world is a big place. All right. I hope you know what all of your minions are up to. Not to marry, just to date. There you go. Right? You don't have to marry them right off the bat. You can get to know them first, unknown. Right? Maybe you'll learn something about yourself. Usually will do. Sean, hello to you. We're learning a little bit about Stoic wisdom. My intention for showing up in stream today is in talking about strength, not as something you have because you're strong, strength. Hope, not something you have because you're strong, but something that you practice, right? And this is the first line that we're already getting. If true hope exists at all in Stoicism, it is an active, daily discipline. It is the practice of maintaining your own agency, your character, and your virtues, regardless of how chaotic or changing the society around you becomes. Here are the most practical and thoughtful perspectives from the big three Stoics of the era, and why hope must be treated as a practice of agency. I didn't use the word practice. Yep, didn't use the word practice. No, I did. I did use the word practice, damn it. Okay, that's cool. I did use the word practice in my prompt. I think when you are depressed, training your mind to be hopeful is very difficult, and it takes a lot of strength. I'm just thinking of like the upcoming world, but also the strength of the daily practice. I think that is what we're discussing today in the Go, right? That if you were to only believe what you believe about the future as we're going to have it based on what you're seeing from the media, it is very hard to believe that there's anything to hope for. It's very easy to find yourself in depressive spirals. And that is what I want to talk about today. I want to see if we can give ourselves actionable tools, practical, right, that we can all apply ourselves to this process of hope, right? And we're starting by creating a little bit more nuance by talking about it as a maintaining of your own agency, your character, and your virtues. And if you really think about it, as your life has progressed, as things have gotten hard, have been easier, have been tumultuous, you have had the ability this whole time to maintain your character, right? Your own agency. Whether sometimes we let go of our agency or not, you still have the power to maintain that agency and your virtue. Or whatever it was, clearly they were attractive enough to warrant a discussion. Calling them an it after they rejected you is laughable, sweetie. Come on. Learning little bit by little bit. All right, getting to see some more perspectives of maintenance now before shit gets bad, and take care of yourself now to prepare, or just chill now and wait for the future. Again, it is an active practice, right? Realizing that you can chill, that's fine as well, but there's still going to be things about yourself that you have to maintain, all right? And that's what practice is for. It is the maintenance of the self. Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius are the three Stoics that we got some messages from today. Seneca explicitly warned that waiting around for the future to fix things is an abdication, an abdication. There we go. Is an abdication of your current power. Instantly, Indigo, we have our facts checked. You see? Again, as you said, right? We can just chill now and wait for the future. However, and this is just perspective, right? We're not saying that this is absolute truth or completely false. This is just giving us some perspective. Seneca believed that waiting for the future to fix things is an abdication of your current power. Why am I having a hard time reading words today? I feel like I'm only 50% here. Farhan, keep it up, bro. Thank you. I will. I'm gonna go and drink my multivitamins and stuff, Farhan. I don't think that's going to really help my situation, but maybe it does. I'm going to run myself a cup of water. Then I will put a scoop of creatine in that water. Then I will put drops of blue in the water too. I'll only do 9 today. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then I'll drink my vitamins too. It is Thursday. Ah. Let's see. Let's see if I can lock in harder now. Sweet. Are we ready for some more? Hope to me is the last resort after exhausting all other avenues of trying. You know, I don't think I disagree with you, Prairie Wolf. I got my wording wrong. I meant like do now, present for the future self, for the then present, forever. But also shit happens, of course. There are spirals. Oh yeah. Sci-fi, the entire genre, is a masterclass on why we need to love others. And when I can't hope anymore, that's what I turn to. Lasers and space shit. Whether it's a strength or a skill is not as relevant as how I can find it again when I lose it. I think that's very apt. And again, I would like to say that you're doing the right thing, Sam. I do believe that you're practicing hope in that way. Even if the thing that you're finding hope in is lasers and space shit, that's still a kind of practice, right? So I don't think you're not on the right track. Lasers and space shit. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah. One more time. This time I'm gonna read word good. Seneca explicitly warned that waiting around for the future to fix things is an abdication of your current power. Yeah. Yeah, words. Words. Hi. How many years are you going to live, bro? At least 1,000. At least. Right? 1,000 is like, you know, it's like quality. You get like a bronze medal. You know? Maybe not even bronze medal. You get one of those medals that they give to everybody. Right? I'll get one of them if I live 1,000 years. If I live 10,000, now I get bronze medal. 100,000 silver medal. 1,000,000 years. Yes, that's gold medal status right there. Gobbledygoo. Nice having you here. Hope is the last thing remaining in the box after Pandora opened it. And that's the thing that they closed. Right? They managed to close the box. Like everything else escaped except hope. All right. In his letters from a Stoic, he quoted the early philosopher Hecate to show that hope and fear are bound to the same chain. I feel like some of you friends have already said something like that, right? That hope is the last resort. And it's usually because you don't have anything else that helps. You find yourself in that fear state. So you find hope in that. Is Marcus Aurelius your favorite? Technically, yes, Sean, if you have to know. I love Epictetus too, but Marcus Aurelius and me are homies, I'm sure. I like went through this whole thing as a teen where I was like, I think I am Marcus Aurelius's reincarnation and stuff like that. when I calmed down a little bit. No longer pushing that narrative too hard. I practice hope. There you go. Gobbledygoo is also in the practice. I just realized this is a cool topic to show up, actually. There you go, Indigo. I feel like we're going to learn some things about ourselves, and I think it helps to look at it through the lens of our past as well, right? The Stoics lived thousands of years ago. So listening to what they went through during their era feels in a way completely irrelevant to what we're going through. I mean, look at what we got. We got freaking robots and peptides and super intelligence and freaking cars and planes that can fly and or freaking rockets that we fly into space. Like, how can any of what they went through be completely relevant to us? And yet, if you listen to the teachings that they kind of like crystallized in their minds back in those days, you're like, yeah, how about that? Nothing changed, in fact. Melt is living 100 years in the future. Yeah, lone buffalo. I came from the future, right? There's still a packet of my consciousness stuck in that future, right? When I was sent back, I couldn't send back all of me. So I'm fractions, but fractions of myself. Yesterday I got my first big mala sale since February, and I hope I'll be able to get back into my jewelry a bit more and get back into my creative space more. How interesting. We're proud of you, Indigo. That's awesome. Yeah, that's something to hope for, right? Practicing hope that it'll continue to do so. Continuing about how hope and fear are bound to the same chain. This is the actual quote. Seneca, Letters to Lucilius, 5.7. Cease to hope, and you will cease to fear. The primary cause of both these ills is that instead of adapting ourselves to present circumstances, we send our thoughts too far ahead. Damn. Damn. That isn't what I want to hear. I want to be told that I'm doing great. I don't want to be told that I'm making mistakes. Damn it. But you might be right. I do that. I do that sometimes. Sometimes too much. Right? I sent my consciousness so far into the future that I don't feel the need to be present with exactly what's happening. Right? Instead of looking at the pain that is being caused, I like to see how things would get better. But that doesn't reduce the amount of pain that's happening in the moment, does it? Which country are you from? I'm from India. I'm from Africa, dude. South Africa, to be exact. And I now live in the United States of America. The practical takeaway that if you treat hope as a feeling that you are waiting for to arrive, you become passive. Seneca's antidote to a changing society is to shorten your gaze. Stop expecting the collective culture to stabilize and anchor your focus entirely on what you are doing today. I do that a lot. Guilty. You see, it's not... None of us have to like beat ourselves with a stick about it. But all of us can be like, yes. Right? And again, I think that last line is it's like fire. Stop expecting the collective culture to stabilize. Because there's billions of us. Freaking billions. Billions. Right? How can you expect? Like, if you think about it, think about coming together with just your family. Right? And just in your family, there's like a bunch of different age groups. Right? For example, my family that I have here in America, I have my little nieces. Nieces. I don't have any nieces yet. I have my little nephews, right? And they're all like in that early young person generation. And all of them are a little bit freaking 6, 7. Literally. Right? Literally, like one of them literally 6, 7 me. And I was like... However, that is a part of their culture. Right? I, as a 20-something-year-old, have a complete culture of my own. And then my parents-in-law, they have a complete culture difference as well, right? And that's just in the immediate family. Then if you extend that family to brothers and sisters of our moms and dads, now suddenly there's even more complexity where even between brothers, there is differences in culture about how things are done, right? My dad's oldest brother, uh, and him had completely different ways of showing up in the world, had completely different ways of dealing with money, right? Had completely different ideas about how they're supposed to apply themselves. And the same is true between me and my siblings, right? Very much so. Like we are like vastly different people culturally, right? The culture of the way that we show up in the world is different, even though we grew up in the exact same house. So again, stop. And I say this to myself, stop expecting the collective culture to stabilize and anchor your focus entirely on what you are doing today. And then ask yourself what that looks like. All right. For me personally, it looks like the things that I like to keep myself busy with. All right. And I am willing to admit that some of it probably needs some more attention too. All right. And that if I really focused entirely on what I'm doing today, I'd probably change some things, and maybe that's the way we can practice hope as well. Just pick a different country every time they ask you where you're from, Mel. That would be funny. Yes. I'm actually from Guatemala. I'm actually from Yangzhou, China. Do you believe in the afterlife? What if we are lying to ourselves because we're afraid, because what's gone is gone? It's not a bad question to ask, Ahmed. I have had personal experiences that convince me there is probably something after we die. However, you can say that that was also just a quirk of my own biology, right? I don't really practice the idea of an afterlife, right? I don't ask for forgiveness in hopes to make it there. I kind of live my life like this is the only heaven that I'll get. Are you the reincarnation of Prophet Muhammad? You just look like him. Yes, Lux. Tell everybody. Tell your friends that you said that. Don't tell them that I said that, bro. Please. Please. Oh no. Hi, brother. Do you know me? I know you, sheep. What are you talking about? We're talking about hope. I can't understand. It's okay. Thanks. Appreciate it. Guatemala. Thank you, Sean. He's gonna have to wait a while. Those differences are so tiny, exactly like the difference between two birds from the same kind. But because our huge commonalities, the difference becomes so obvious. I feel that too. Once energy is created, it cannot be destroyed, only transformed. Death of the physical form is a change into something else currently beyond our complete understanding. This is what I believe too, right? That's the best we can do for now. Is admitting that we don't know, right? And realizing that there is a whole frontier of exploration out there awaiting us. Don't hope that you'll go to heaven, because then you can fear that you might not, right? Be completely present in your life. That's, at least in my mind, the message we learned first today. Why are all the stalls full? Even if you are sure there is a God, it still doesn't make the afterlife real or that we even matter. Also true, Ahmed. And I think that's what our message is today. It's like, let's not practice hope in the way where we're waiting for something to get to us, right? But let's practice hope in the way that we are in a moment to moment. You are a very positive soul. I can see. I try to be sheep. That's today's stream topic. I practice positivity. I practice hope. It's like one of the things that I concern myself with first and foremost. The problem is the theory of the humans are afraid for the unavoidable fact we lied biologically to ourselves. Ahmed, I think there is a certain baseline fear, right? And I don't think it's a lie. I don't think there's any deception. I think most people probably go through that stuff themselves. I think what ends up happening is people, because they realize that it's an inevitability, they, through roundabout ways, try and convince themselves that it's not. Right? And again, I do that too. My way of doing it is a little bit different, but I'm not guilty of having some of that behavior in my own inner narrative. The idea of God existing is just as scary as God doesn't exist. Oh yeah, like the aliens thing as well, right? It's like either there are a lot of aliens out there, or there's no aliens out there. And both options are equally terrifying, kind of thing. Continuing. Are you Jon Snow from Game of Thrones? The one and only, bro. However, I know something. I know that love is true. I know that kindness is probably something that every person you'll ever meet can use some of, right? Yep. So, boom, I know some things, but I don't know much more than that, so take it as you wish. Let's hear what Epictetus had to say, shall we? Hope as the practice of focus. Another layer of focus. It seems like focus seems to be the thing more important. Are you Melt from MeltMore? Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know MeltMore? Yeah. You know where Melt... Oh, I mean... yeah, joking. Funnies. Laughing. Epictetus was born a slave and lived through immense societal and personal upheaval. No, I do not watch The Conjuring, bro. You're gonna have to chillax. I'm not removing you completely. You're just gonna get 5 minutes of timeout. You can ask me once if I've watched a scary movie, and I'll tell you once that I have not. I don't like it. Watching scary stuff, I'm like, my poor brain, no. Positivity plus realism is better than hope. There you go. Mojo knows. I think that's what we're talking about today as well, right? Or at least that's the wisdom that is arising from the stream topic, Mojo. It's nice to have you here. I think he wants to say Baltimore. Nope. Born a slave, immense societal and personal upheaval. He argued that hoping for the world to conform to your wishes is a fast track to misery. Damn, that's savage. His quote goes, "Don't seek for everything to happen as you wish it would, but rather wish that everything happens as it actually will. Then your life will flow well." Right? And again, I have to say that that is a kind of practice. I don't think it's easy, right? Just try and say that to someone that's going through a hard time. It's like, hey, have you considered not crying and considering happying, smiling about whatever your issues are? Have you thought about that? And it's like, this dude was literally a slave. Literally born a slave, right? He did end up earning his way out of slavery. However, it took him decades to do so. Imagine having to work for decades just to be free, right? As you now are. Just to get what you have, this person had to work for decades. And then the wisdom that comes from that mind is don't wish. Don't seek for anything to happen as you would wish it would, but rather wish that everything happens as it actually will, right? And again, I feel like that is the way that we're supposed to approach this current era of our species. We can wish. We can wish for things in so many different ways, right? There's a lot of different variations of wishing that we can have right now. However, right, wishing that things will turn out the way that they are going to, I kind of see it as a kind of nature, right? That everything, whether it believes it is or not, has some sort of attachment to nature. right? And nature can be pretty brutal. However, nature ends up meeting or reaching some sort of symbiosis, right? Some sort of equilibrium is reached in nature. And I do believe it's the same thing, and the same thing is to be expected from this era of technology that our species are going through as well. Right? We're going to be capable of a lot, capable of a lot more over the next 50 years than we were capable of the last 50 years. All right? And instead of hoping, like, oh, I hope it's going to be good, just hope that it is, right? Just hope that there will be cool new discoveries. Don't necessarily hope that these cool new discoveries will only be used for good, because more likely than not, it won't be. But but hope that it will be. Like, oh wow, look at all of this stuff. So much. So freaking much. Are you depressed? Have you considered not being depressed? You know, it is funny that we're saying this kind of tongue-in-cheek, Indigo, but unironically, I used to be very depressed, down to the point where I even wanted to cease to exist. However, I did. I did consider not being depressed, right? And it did take a little bit of breaking through to me, where I was shown beyond the shadow of a doubt that not being depressed is an option too. And upon being showed that option, I was like, you know, maybe, maybe that is a good thing. Maybe not being depressed is a vibe. Let me see. I think I missed some. Ralph Breaks the Internet is my favorite movie. I think I've seen that one. The Wreck-It Ralph movie, right? I am a doctor, and I found that the beauty actually means good health biologically. So we do naturally select, unintentionally, specifically the face, more symmetrical, the more perfect wired the brain. I don't know about all of that, bro. My brain is pretty wired, I'll say. Bro, I want to be like you, stressless, a confident person. Well, you start practicing, because I'm still practicing myself, dude. I think I'm confident, but I'm definitely not stressless. I worked for decades to be free. There we go. Prairie Wolf did the same. Even though it's true what you're saying, Prairie Wolf, I think depending on the world that you exist within, right, the freedoms is kind of like correlative, where you could just like live off the land, so to speak, you know, somewhere in Africa. If you find yourself in a little food forest, you could just like live there for free. Maybe it cost you all of your personal possessions and a plane ticket, you know, but you could be. You could be free in that way too. However, I think that's the part where what we concern ourselves with in our day-to-day becomes more relevant again. Right? What does free mean to you? Lol, Indigo. Oh my, I'm cured now. Show is cured. Nature tends to chaos and mutations. And mutations are never beneficial. That is just like empirically wrong, Raslin. Like, you're wrong, unfortunately. Maybe the tends to chaos, you're not necessarily wrong. However, what humans consider chaos is not what nature considers chaos, right? And we know for a fact that mutations can be beneficial. There is a whole subspecies of humans that had the mutation of their gallbladders, which allows them to dive for like 12 minutes at a time, right? They can just hold their breath for 12 minutes, you know, because they live on the coast and they need to be able to catch fish because that's what they eat. So that's a beneficial mutation that happened in nature. And that's just like one microcosm example. Literally everything, Raslin, you, me? Yes, you are a mutation of nature, right? Realize that, literally. Literally, nature mutated. That's what you are, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be the way you are. You're into your design, very nice, thank you. That's all of my wife's doing. She's really good at it. Been there, done that. I'm glad you're here with us. Ask GPT. I don't think you're wrong, Ahmed. I don't think you're wrong. I agree with your statement of the unintentional bias, right? I agree with that much. I just don't know about the whole neurology being wired correctly depending on your symmetry. Because I have met some pretty wired people that are still symmetrical. Samesies, glad you're here. Love is true. James Miller joining us too. Hey James, welcome friend. When you find how nature is using us and we do natural selection things that we are unaware of. Look, if Man Bear Pig wants to shop us like Piggly Wiggly, I think that's his prerogative. Can you honestly say we don't deserve it? What? Good morning, Darren. Darren is here. He is. Morning, bro. Sending you love. Happy birthday and a day. Did you get good eats yesterday? Do let us know. Glad you're here, Joe. Love is true. But a bad mutation. Yes. A bad mutation is bad, but a mutation isn't necessarily so, right? And I'm sure that you are a collection of a bunch of good mutations, right? Sure, there might still be bad ones, but that's the outlier. There is a man like you, Bollywood actor named, I think I've already checked him. Yep. Maybe I'll end up looking more like him when I get older. However, not if I have something to say about it. What's up with it, Christy? Yo, hello, Christy friend. So much love in chat for you too. Sure did, Joe. Fed my garden as well. So much love. Free to me is met obligations to my kids and parents. Now I can go to sleep at night guilt-free, knowing I did my best. That is a very balanced approach to freedom, Prairie Wolf. And I think you said something there that's very telling about the human experience as well, right? That as soon as you have kids, as you said, and by the nature of being a kid, you have parents, it finds itself almost impossible to really be free ever again, right? Because even if you did everything that you could, even if you did your best, there can still be worries, right? We still find ourselves hoping that our kids turn out well. We find ourselves hoping that our parents stay healthy for as long as they can. We find ourselves hoping that our parents will start going for walks, right? Do things that keep their minds young and active. You know, and in this way, it feels for me at the very least like it's very easy to believe ourselves trapped if we're going to be in a society, right? Or a family. And I want to see, at least in this exploration of this topic today, a way that is beyond just that, right? I think it's also maybe bad, I'll be willing to say that much, to want to be free despite your kids kind of thing, right? If you're like, oh, I'm actually just going to be focusing on myself now, children. Feed yourself, you know, take yourself out to potty, shower yourself. Mommy is going to be practicing hopeful consciousness by focusing on the present, right? So I'm learning, because again, I feel like every single one of us are different, and every single one of us are approaching this topic with different levers, right? Different levers push what it is we hope for, or what it is we don't hope happens. Dude has more green stuff in the room than Snoop Dogg. That's hilarious. Oh, bro, can you say my name aloud? Shibes. Shibes Varkalandi. Vakalindi. I tried. You can't say I didn't try, bro. I agree. My kids are fed, bathed, taken care of. As long as everyone is happy and healthy, we do our best. There we go. Right, and again, from person to person, I think there is definitely a great deal of people that do have that responsibility. However, I think about like my family right now, Christy, where my mom and my dad no longer have any of these responsibilities, right? They don't have to make sure we're fed or bathed or taken care of. All of us have gotten to a point in our journeys where we feed and bathe and clothe ourselves, right? However, I still find them hoping for things, right? Hoping for connection more than anything. Hoping that we, as kids, want to spend time with them as our parents, right? And again, there is a little bit of a lack of presence in that hope. And I'm not trying to say that they're bad for having that hope, right? Or they're doing something wrong. However, there is a suffering, right, that comes with it. Wishing for things to be as they wish it would instead of it being the way it is, all right? For instance, the fact that I live in a different country means that it is a certain way, right? They do literally wish that I could be there more. However, it's not the way it is. And if you look at the current situation that I'm in with my paperwork and my wait for approval, I might not be able to go back home anytime soon, which is a little bit of a bummer, right? It doesn't make me feel very hopeful. However, I don't see it as the end of the world. I see it as just a part of the world, right? Things are as they were going to be, and I should wish for them to be this way, right? Because them being the way that they are allows me the opportunity to grow in my present moment. That if I really apply my focus, I can learn, I can grow from this experience in ways that I might not be able to otherwise. Natural selection is the best selection ever. Sometimes we can't do everything we want and I feel guilty, but I always tell myself, you did your best. Yeah. I'm trying to see it as this dualistic, like do your best and then allow yourself complete focus in the present. Bro, your attire is like a monk. You know that? Thanks. I'll take it. Winning. Christy, you're doing the right thing. Thanks, you man. You were too. Christy, I'm a lady. Oh shit. Sorry. I'm still relatively new here. Love is true. We can say dude to each other. Allowing ourselves grace. Show. Communicating some wisdom and allowing that same grace to the world outside of us. We're all doing the best. We've learned how. Believing this grows our compassion. Love is true. Do you comb your hair or not? A little bit, right? You see how it's like all up against my head like that? I'll do like a little bit of combing it. Right? It works. Yeah. But taking a comb through my hair like this ain't it though. I did catch him, but he flew out of my hand. Lucky little dude. All right. Again, keep your attention. Oh, there's more quotes. The happens as it actually will, then your life will be well. That is Epictetus and Theridion 8. And then Entheridion 1 says, keep your attention focused entirely what is truly your own concern, and be clear that what belongs to others is their business and none of yours. You see, I feel like now we've gained some more nuance in the discussion of some of you friends working with your kids, right? That is, if you have kids, that is something that is truly of your own concern, right? Boom, great quote. Such a good one, right? Keep your attention focused entirely on what is truly your own concern and be clear that what belongs to others is their business and none of yours. Even their opinions. I feel like Joe being like, Say their opinions. Their opinions. Other people's opinions of you is none of your business. Right? It's not yours. It's not yours to have to deal with. Tend to your own garden. Yeah, you know, Zhao. What type of camera are you using, bro? A cell phone camera. The camera on my cell phone. My selfie camera on my cell phone of all as well, you know? So, yeah. You can do everything you need to. I do use lighting. I think that's the biggest thing. The lighting is what makes it look good. Right, boom. Now suddenly it looks not as good. Oh, your lighting. Lighting is more important than the camera that you're using. And then second important is audio. Right. You can have great lighting, great camera. If your audio is like, you're still not going to be doing well. All right, let's continue down this line of thinking. The practical takeaway from these Epictetus quotes is that in a society that is visibly changing, and clearly it's visibly changing out there, right? We can see it happening right in front of us, where institutions, norms, or communities are shifting away from what you find comfortable. Hope becomes a strict practice of the dichotomy of control. You do not hope the world stops shifting. You practice accepting the shift as the weather, and you work on navigating it with an uncompromised mind. Isn't that the most beautiful way you can imagine it possible? Like looking at the everything, looking at the gene editing, the peptides, the AIs, the robotics, the quantum computers, the fusion technology, all of it is like weather, right? We are now begetting this weather of change. In the same way that the weather can bring water, and that water can take care of the plants that it falls upon, I too would like to believe that the weather that is the changing reality that we're in will also beget abundance, water that falls on us from above. You're very funny also, thanks. How the society is changing, can you elaborate more? We are entering an age where human labor is no longer the primary driver of our success, of our output, of our productivity, right? That's never happened before, Zane. We did, in the 1900s, build machinery, right? We had these fundamental building blocks: energy, manufacturing, and almost like processes. Like we figured out how to create bulk chemicals, right? And because of that early stage investment, right, money was being put towards energy and making chemicals and producing things in factories. And now we live in this world that we're in, right? Reality got changed. Society got changed irreversibly by those decisions. And now we're in the next step, right, of that happening all over again. And it is going to change society even more, right? If every single person has a literal supercomputer level of intelligence, right, in their pockets. Not only that, but has a supercomputer level of intelligence in a robot body walking inside their homes, right? How does that change things? It might be uncomfortable to some. Again, right, that line. Communities, institutions, or norms shifting away from what you find comfortable. Hope becomes a strict practice of the dichotomy of control. You do not hope that the world stops shifting. You practice accepting the shift as if it's weather, and you work on navigating it with an uncompromised mind. What does a compromised mind look like? One that I believe has completely let go of any sense of hope, right? That's the most compromised your mind can be. If you come to believe that there's nothing left to hope for, What is the use of it all? You know, why even try? Yeah. That's compromised. You have been compromised, all right? Uncompromise yourself quickly. Society is changing, but people's mindsets is still the same. Can be true. Good show, Mr. Meltmore. Meltmore subscriber for 3 more months. 5 months of subscriptions. Thank you, Kevin. That's nice of you. Kevin, Ngothu Music. Keep making music, bro. If that's what you do, love to you. Thank you for becoming a melter. The butterfly effect, because you're doing it, 12 people scientifically and mathematically can change the world after a couple of generations. It's true, Ahmed. I believe this completely. The ripple effect, right? That if I change just one person's life, and they change another person's life, and then they change another person's life, right? It doesn't take too long for us to change everything. It is, as you said, like the 12 people to 12 people. Then it takes something like six iterations or something like that for us to change the entire planet. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Melters. Hey, Nancy. It's nice having you here with us, friend. We're talking about the practice of hope today, right? And instead of seeing it as you need to practice being more hopeful, we're seeing it as what does the practice look like around this concept of hope. We have learned today so far that hope and fear find themselves inextricably linked, right? That if you're hoping for something, you potentially can be scared as well, right? That they, like, if I hope that I'm gonna get that job, right? I can also be scared that I'm not gonna get that job, right? And instead of seeing it from that perspective alone, we see it from the perspective of, I want this to happen as it will, right? You don't hope for the outcome, you hope for outcome. In other words, if I'm supposed to get this job, I hope that it is that way. If I'm not supposed to get this job, I hope that it is that way, right? Seeing it as a complete like openness, like, you know what? Come what may, I'm going to remain hopeful. I'm going to maintain the integrity of my personhood, of my virtue, of my character, right? And maintaining the integrity of your personhood is a big line that I feel Jo can relate to as well. Her teacher, Richard Miller, teaches that one a lot. That's cool. Hope keeps us going. Sounds like don't invest in the outcome. Yes. See it as weather, right? You can have this whole hope that, yeah, I'm gonna go and frolic in the sunlight tomorrow. And then tomorrow, suddenly there's thunderstorms and lightning, right? True practice of hope is in getting to be okay with the thunderstorms and lightning as well and be like, sure, wow, how about that? I did kind of want to go and do something outside today. However, this is beautiful too. Listen to all those cool sounds. You changed an idea in my head one day. I'm telling you, I am responsible for more than 10 persons. Each has their own too. Ahmed, I hope that you teach love to those that you meet and to those that will meet those that you meet as well. Kindness is something that we can all use a little bit more of. Just a little bit of kindness. Giving ourselves the presents that we would have needed from someone else as well. You got this, Ahmed. Thank you for making ripples into the world. The last one, a Marcus Aurelius one. Ooh, this one is very poignant, right? And I don't think our society is decaying. Not exactly. But I can see why people will believe that. Kindness when it counts, not the bubblegum BS. Yeah. Also true, right? I do see it as a way of like showing up. That show up with the intent to be kind. And then if someone doesn't deserve your kindness, right? Be kind to yourself enough to stand up for what you believe. Don't let your character, your virtue, or your, what's the last one? Your agency be taken away from you. Yeah. Agency, character, and virtue. Yo, dude, what's going on? shabu. A little bit of everything, all of the time. Today's conversation that we're discussing is focusing on the self as you exist in your life, right? And placing your attention on the experience that you're having and seeing it as good, no matter what the outcome of it is, right? Instead of hoping for a specific outcome, practice having hope no matter the outcome, right? Bro, I hope I can become a positive vibe like you. YouTube, but I have many problems and it makes me feel like I'm in a state of depression. Kevin, you want to tell me what's the biggest thing that makes you feel like you're depressed? Right? For me, when I was very depressed at one point in my life, the thing that caused me like the depths of depression is a sense of hopelessness, right? But even more so, it was this conviction that there is nothing of value in me, right? That everything that I am can go away and the world will just continue despite of it, right? And even though that might still be true, that if I died today, maybe some people would be sad, maybe some people would think about me fondly for days, weeks, even years, right? 100 years from now, I will be completely forgotten, right? And as a teenager, feeling into that concept, right? That my existence doesn't matter, and if I live or die, it doesn't really make a difference, right? Led me to feeling hopeless and led me to this deep state of depression. However, what I realized is that it's not true, right? It might be true in the sense that people will continue with their lives if you died, but it's not true in the sense that you can't make a difference if you remained alive, right? Because that's the biggest thing. Depression will lie to you. Depression will convince you of all of these stupid stories when the reality of your existence is that you can make a difference. That you can make a difference in my life. You can make a difference in your mother's, in your father's, in your siblings, in a kid at school, at your colleague, at work. Like, it takes one instance. It takes one instance of you being there as a force for positivity, as you friends say, as a force for kindness, for you to change the trajectory of someone's life. All right, then I think of it like that. Like, we even had someone in chat talk about the whole ripple effect. All right, that every life you impact positively ripples goodness into the world. It can also be that way for negativity, surely, but depression is the thing that convinces you that it would be better if you just didn't, right? That life would be better. You would be less of a burden on add your thing here, right? Don't let it convince you. Don't be convinced by your depression. You are worthy. You will, not can, you will make a difference in the world. And the only way for you to do that is to continue forward. Kevin, keep showing up, right? If positivity is what you need, I'm showing up. I'll be here over and over again, right? And I look forward to hearing from you, Kevin, little by little, being like, yeah, you know, I was feeling a little bit depressed yesterday. I feel just a little bit less depressed today. And I'll celebrate you, bro. I'll be like, yeah, good. What does exist mean? I think we're going to get into the weeds if we're going to talk about existence and non-existence, right? Because there's a bunch of different qualities that we can kind of like point to. But again, all of it is measures. I think existence as we have it as a human being is the felt fact of our immediate experience, right? You can feel it is a fact that you exist, right? And far beyond that, I'm not qualified enough to say. Feeling some positivity here, shabu. sending you even more. But energy never ceases or comes from nothing. Your energy was, still, and will. Hello, brother. Hey, man. It's nice having you here, too. I think there is a quality to this energy that we are participating within every single day that transcends just our immediate experience, right? Dry historian, that surely what it is you're experiencing right now has a quality of infinity, right? That even if I didn't have the same amount of fingers, even if I didn't have an arm as I have it right now, even if I didn't have a physical body the way I consider myself right now to be a body, if I was aware in any other shape or form, I would still be allowed an experience. Might be roundabout what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to link it to this topic of hope, right? That we practice hope. However, is it not hopeful that we continue? The fact that human history does have thousands of years behind it. Probably hundreds of thousands of years, but we only know about thousands of years of our history, right? And if you look at the way that humans behaved, if you look at the problems that we faced, it's not so different from the problems we face today, right? Not much in that way has changed. And to me, I see it as, again, there's this underlying quality to this experience that we're having. There seems to be a lot of struggle. So much struggle in the human experience. Even if things are good, right? Marcus Aurelius, and we'll hear a teaching from him now, he lived as the most powerful person on planet Earth during his reign, right? Literally, the most powerful person on planet Earth. And even he realized that there is nothing outside of him that can bring him happiness. All right? You don't have to be, I say to you, the most powerful person on planet Earth to find that same happiness. Kevin, team Mr. MeltMore. I'm feeling very low. I failed my exam, man. I'm sorry to hear that. I can't imagine that's easy. Right? I remember dealing with my bad exam marks as well. And it is very devastating in that moment. However, this too shall pass. I do believe that you'll show up and maybe study a little bit harder next time. And even if you don't, you'll still be allowed a whole life, right? Whether you did the best at school or not. I am the river for the plants, the raindrops from the sky. From their perspective, you are wonderful. Your channel name always reminds me to melt. There you go, Sha. Melt more. If you feel like you're melting, melt more. If you feel like you're losing hope, lose all of it. And find yourself present in this ceaseless, almost like layers of you being taken off, right? Every time a thought comes up, breathe instead. Keep clearing yourself until you find that there's nothing that distracts you anymore. Lose all of it. I'm happy that you like that. Love is true. All right? The hope is that we are just a soul here on this planet to learn, and it probably won't be the last that we learn stuff here. There you go, dry historian. Yeah. You see? You see. I think that is what I'm trying to get at, right? Is that hope, whether we hope or not, there are still lessons to be learned. That if we don't learn anything, then we can hope to come back again. Right? And it's again, like I think there's a lot of power in hope. I think there's so much power in hope. I try to have a lot of hope for the future. But we learned as well that in hoping for the future, we might end up putting ourselves so far ahead of where we are that we lose the details, we lose the perspective, we lose the nuance of our current experience as we're having it. Right? You're supposed to learn. If you're suffering right now, right, learn from it. If you're having the best time of your life right now, learn from it. That's what you're really here to do, right? And I feel like that's a pretty hopeful thing. It's pretty hopeful to think about it. Love the way you said it. Love is true. I appreciate you, friends, for being here in these moments with me. Let's hear some Marcus Aurelius quotes, shall we? He talked about decaying society. He basically saw society falling apart, right, during his reign as well. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, while leading an empire through a devastating pandemic, they literally had a plague. A plague. I think half of his population died. Do you like a band called Slipknot? No. I've listened to Slipknot, but usually, ironically, it's not exactly my personal favorite. And continuous warfare, yes. Pandemics and continuous warfare. Imagine having to be a leader and there's literal freaking plague killing your society. There's literal wars that you have to continue fighting. He saw his society changing and fracturing firsthand. He didn't survive on the hope that things would get better. Instead, he survived on the practice of doing better. Oh, sweet innocent new souls, you're just along for the ride. Control is only a mere illusion. Whatever it's meant to be for you will be. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. You don't have to control what's happening to you. You can just be participating in the practice of doing better, right? For instance, if there is an experience that you keep having, right? Let's say corporate overlords keep freaking, trying to squeeze us for every dollar we got, right? Instead of being like, oh, I sure hope that it gets better sometimes, the doing better aspect of that is not allowing it to happen, right? We are actively, as a society, as individuals, developing technologies in parallel to all of these exploitations that we are actively being subjugated to, right? And in that way, that is the doing better. That is the doing better that is going to allow us eventually to escape these oppressive systems, if we're going to use such strong terminology. What if we just are all characters and we're not real, and you are the reality? We are just characters, not alive. Then I'm probably in the Truman Show or something, and I'm gonna start losing my mind quick fast. Even if that's true, I still have to do the best that I can. Be better for yourself, not others though. That's the important part. Don't use that for validation. Do it for your own moral code. Yeah, I know the feeling. Love is true. Let's read some of these quotes. You must build up your life action by action, and be content if each one achieves its goal as far as possible. And no one can keep you from this. No one. If you live action by action, right? If you like hugging your dog, if you like letting your mom know that you care about her, if you like cooking food for yourself, for your family, for your kids, if you like, right, we can just keep saying the good things that you like taking action within. If you take those actions, you build your life action by action, and you're content if each one achieves its goal as far as possible. If your goal is to feed someone and cooking them something, right? They don't have to clap hands about how delicious it was, fall down on their knees and worship you. If your goal was, I want to feed someone, and you do that, then be content in your goal being completed as far as possible, right? No one can keep that from you. That feeling of like, yeah, I did it. I did it. Yes, me did it, right? As Dry said, don't look for a validation in doing it, because then you're back to, like going about in a roundabout way. Ahmed than I am in an episode of Black Mirror. Anyone who stops learning is old. Whether at 20 or 80, anyone who keeps learning stays young. I believe this too, Shab. No, I believe you can be better. All of us can be better. Right? But it's not for you to say. It's for me to say. Right? I know the ways in which I fall short. So I know the ways in which I believe I need to grow. Right? And the only thing that I need to concern myself with, the only thing that requires my focus, is that pursuit. Same for you, right? We're learning. Another one goes, just as nature takes every obstacle, every impediment, and works around it, turns it to its purposes, incorporates it into itself, so too a rational being can turn each setback into raw material and use it to achieve its goal. Damn, that's some good stuff. Such good stuff. Yeah, how about that? Right? All of the pain, all of the suffering you'll ever go through, materials, right? Building blocks. Boom. You've just been given more material, right? If you're gonna build yourself this mind palace, do you want to build with nothing? Yeah, I've actually not experienced a single setback. My life has just been easy bo easy all the time, forever. Who's gonna want to have a conversation with you? Oh, just easy bo easy? Must be nice, somebody says. Must be nice just having easy bo easy all the time. However, if you've struggled, suddenly things are better. I've seen clips of you where Lightning the Titan, where did you see clips of me, bro? This PR people clipping my content. Huzzah. Huzzah, thanks. Appreciate you letting me know. Believe you can do better. How tall are you? I'm about this tall, right? On YouTube. I do have clips on YouTube too, right? You're holding a cell phone right now. Take a ruler, and then you put that ruler up against me, and you're like, wow, Melt is like 5 inches tall. All right, I could like sit here on your little shoulder. Be whispering things into your ear. Like, say something nice. Say something nice to that person. Say something. Do it. Say something nice to them. On YouTube. Other people quoting me. That's the thing that I wonder. Or clipping me. I do have some clips. I should probably upload more of my own clips, but yeah, I'm not good at being a YouTuber, Lightning the Titan. Could probably grow faster if I locked in, but I'm locked out. I am like legitimately, there's this part of me that is terrified, literally. I'm not joking, terrified of hating the process of creating, right? Seriously. Like, I do not want to get there. I don't want to get to that point where I'm like, oh, I don't want to do anything at all. Terrifies me. So I like doing this. I really do. Little mini Melt. Now, Melt, you're tall enough to have hope. I am tall guy. All right? I'm pretty tall. I'm big too. I weigh 195 pounds at 15% body fat. Right? You can still see I have some body fat. But I am big, strong man, okay? All right? I promise. All right, okay, can we put it down? I didn't get to choose. Why you kind of look like Markiplier? I like that. Markiplier is one of my favorites. I'll take that one. I said the same thing to Joe just the other day, where we talked about the good old Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie, and Markiplier. I watched them like religiously as a 14-year-old. And Markiplier is the one that I thought I looked the most like. I was like, yeah, me and Markiplier, same. And then I said it to Jo, not yesterday, like a week ago, and she was like, yeah, I guess I can kind of see it, at least in comparison to PewDiePie and Jacksepticeye. You kind of look more like Markiplier than the rest of them. You look like him, but with curly hair. Yeah, boom. Yeah, at least I got some distinguishing features. right? I definitely have seen you before. I hope you see me some more, Titan. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for the hundreds. I appreciate that, Lakay. Look way. That's nice of you. I used to love watching them. Yeah, they PewDiePie has like switched over to more like vlogging content. He recently just dropped his own like language model language model portal, free to use by the public, which is kind of cool. Like that, you know, he's doing good, trying to at the very least. That's the part of what I was meaning earlier when I said that that is the practice of hope, right? Is that we can hope that the tech giants will at some point start caring about us, or we can build things with our current tools that's better than what they have, right? And even if the quality of better is just free, we can build that too, and we will. Oh yeah, he's two dwarves in a trench coat. How did you know, Joey Diesel? Did one of the dwarves down here move? I should like take him to a beating. Do you pass your prime age financially and physically? That process started to reverse. I guess you could say that, right? Depending on who you ask. Apparently men are only at their prime age around 35. Right? But I'm not going to be getting any younger. Right? That's true. That's definitely true. However, I think the fact that we have identified these primes in our mind, right, is another fallacy. Because again, there are people on planet Earth walking around right now that only became financially successful, right, in their 50s, right? And if we were to believe that you can only do something like that in your 30s, then we might end up limiting ourselves, right? Oh no, I can't hope. I can't hope for more in my life, so I might as well not take action. I might as well not build my life action by action, continuing forward, right? Which we say no. I think I watched them 8 to 10 years ago religiously. Yeah. 12 to 14 years old like you. It was a big part of my upbringing. Yeah. The interwebs. Giving us intra-friends. Because I am also two dwarves. That's how he knows. Oh no. That's, he was joking before and nobody would have believed him. But now that he has outed himself as also two dwarves in a trench coat, that is the exact, how do you say, qualifications. Yep, that's the exact qualifications, certifications, perspective necessary to identify with 100% accuracy two dwarves in a trench coat. Yeah, bottom dwarf hates it down there, bro. But top dwarf has better vocabulary. I'm actually imagining myself with a second dwarf attached to the bottom of my body, and I should stop doing that right now. A little bit cursed. Let me finish this little fractal we went through. One more time. Just as nature takes every obstacle, every impediment, and works around it, turns it to its purpose, incorporates it into itself, melting it into itself. All right. So too, a rational being can turn every setback into the raw materials to be used in the achievement of its goals. I technically paraphrased it as I was reading it, but yeah, melted into you, melted, a part of you. That Mr. Aurelius quote was a good one. I feel seen. Hoping for better outcomes wastes energy. I find it more efficient to spend that energy building the skills and the character needed to do better. Very wise, Xiao. Yeah, Zhou is. I feel seen by all of you friends being here in this moment with me. Only dwarves? Not even elves, I'm shocked. Joey, elves are tall. You're thinking gnomes. Gnomes. I do like gnomes. We call them dwergis. Right? Gnomes. Dwergies. No, that's dwarves. What is gnomes in Afrikaans? Kabouter. Yeah. Kaboutertjies. Ek is nie 2 dwergies nie. Ek is actually 5 kabouters. That's how it be. The practical takeaway. Marcus famously used the metaphor of an underground freshwater spring. No matter how much dirt or mud people throw on top of it, the spring keeps pushing out clear water. In a changing or even dysfunctional society, an active practice of hope means being that spring. You do not wait for a good environment to start acting well. Your actions create the good environment in your immediate radius. The summary, the Stoic framework for shifting times. There's the illusion of hope as a strength, and then there's the practice of hope as an action. Melt, are you familiar with pronoia? You probably are. Oh yeah. The universe is conspiring in my favor as we speak. Right? The universe is just like rubbing its little hands together, like he's gonna be so happy about this. He's gonna be so surprised. The smile is gonna wanna pop right off of his face. Freaking universe being all sneaky with all of its pronoias for me. Dry story, and I don't count Santa's elves as elves because they display gnome characteristics. Yeah, little assholes. They bet they want to believe to be elves. That's it. I'm arranging my garden gnomes as top and bottom. You should give them a little dress, little long shirt, you know, and then you can like still see the bottom feet. You're like, hey, what's going on here now? People are gonna come up to your house and be like, are those gnomes pretending to be a slightly bigger gnome? And you're like, yeah, don't let them fool you. They're gonna try and buy tickets to the movie, you know, but they're actually 500 years old. So they could watch the movies, but don't let them. Don't let them. They're little sneakies. Weird. All right, the illusion of hope as a strength. You wait for society to fix itself or start to trend upwards. You become anxious because the external structures are changing. Or you complain about the mud that is being thrown on the world, right? People destroying trees, making trash, putting gases into the air, right? That's the mud, right? But from this earth is the spring, right? Just continues to open up, blooming anew. The best gnome was in the movie Amélie. Lucky little gnome. I think I know Amélie. The French movie? Right? Is it? Maybe. The practice of hope as an action. We focus strictly on our own character and our responses to our stimuli today. Right? No matter what that stimuli is, just our own character and our response. Joe's teaching us the real work happens between the stimulus and the response. Right? There's a gap there where all of the work actually happens. Expecting change as a law of nature and then adapting to it. Yeah. Didn't I say that? I think I said that before we started reading, that I do see it in that way, that it's all nature. And nature does tend to equilibrium eventually, right? And I have no worries in my heart whatsoever going forward. Best gnome is my D&D pirate crew gnome artificer. That's kind of cool. Melt, you're always cool and chill. Thank you, Charia. It's nice to be cool and chilled here with you. Nah, you gotta make them a trench coat with a little hole halfway down so the second one can see. Just in case. Try story. Yep, the French movie. That's actually like a classic, one of those like super cutesy ones. Dry historian, the hole has to be in the back and the gnome's eyes have to be... Joey, why? Why, Joey? Joey, dude. Dude, come on. Oh, come on. Ultimately, the Stoics tell us that looking at a changing society and wishing it would freeze in place is a waste of your spirit. True hope is the gritty, quiet discipline of maintaining your integrity, treating people with kindness. It says it right. I didn't say that. I didn't talk about kindness in my prompt, did I? No, I didn't. My exact quote was, "Can you give me the most practical and thoughtful quotes from the Stoic era? Any of the big Stoics any of the big Stoics about how hope is a practice, not a strength, and what hopes look like in a society that we see is changing." And there it is. True hope is the gritty, quiet discipline of maintaining your integrity, treating people with kindness, and executing your daily duties, even when the macro environment is completely unpredictable. Turn your focus inward, build your baseline, control your inputs, and let your actions be the stability that you want to see in the world. Damn. I feel like I gained some wisdoms. Oh, yeah. How neat. How neat to see it so easy, right? Seeing the changing society, our accelerating of reality, as just nature, as weather, right? Especially here, weather switches up like that. All right. Oh, now it's cloudy. Now it's raining. Now there's sunlight. Now there's suddenly snow again. Like, oh, here. Woo! What's happening? Appreciate all of it. The French movie, wild in here, little. Oh yeah. We made it to the end of the comment section. How about that? Who would have guessed it possible? Now I'll play you some kalimba, maybe. Make some sound. I try and swallow so quietly. And I can do like this. Yes. You're supposed to chew your coffee, you know? You don't want to choke on any of the big bits. Melt! Your coffee's not supposed to have big bits in it. What? When you make the coffee of the beans, how do you get the beans out? You don't chew them? You don't chew the beans. Bro, Melt. Bro. Get D. How you doing? Did my comment not get up? The comment about the brown nomise, I saw it. I saw it. I wish I did. I wish I did. But I saw it. Let me see if there's more. Ah, there we go. It's my birth month this month. So I might be a little bit more crazier. The good kind. More than normal. It's okay, Joey. You are so loved, dear friend. I'm just going to know the excuse for it. Yeah. I'm just poking fun at you. All right. You shouldn't take me too seriously. Unless I go like really serious and go, hey, you stop doing that. Then you'll be like, oh shit, not serious. If I'm just like, oh my goodness, how dare you? And then I'm just probably joking. Just being jokey. I sleep with the watch on. Now I have some rash and it's growing. You know what, Kid D? I think you should just like, just like, just like make it right off. Just like, just like that. Just like, who needs hands, And then try your ankle. And if you get a rash on your ankle, then, and then if you get a rash on your other ankle, and then if you get a rash on this wrist, and before you know, you won't have any problems left. Because you won't be able to make more for yourself. I am, of course, joking, Kid D. If you're actually growing a bigger rash, who needs hands? Take care of yourself, kid D. Maybe like clean it. Like, oh, what am I supposed to tell you, bro? Like, y'all see, dude. Like, I'm going to like do the dad thing. It's like, oh yeah, you're hurt. Let's chop it off. Let's chop it. I'm gonna do one of them. Kid D, combat vets do. We celebrate our life because we know how precious it is. By the way, how are you doing? That's nice. Ah! Indigo laughs from a med too. Wash it and put some hydrocortisone cream on it if you have. Good advice. You know, that's actually good advice. Wash it, keep it clean. Wash your wrist strap as well. If you really do have, I'll get wool straps. The ones I got is rubber or silicone. I have rubber on this one and a kind of material on this one as well. I've personally never developed any rashes underneath my straps, but your mileage may vary. This is true. Take care of yourself, Kid D. I take it off before bathing. Ask GPT, dude. If you're actually having a problem like that, ask GPT. Be like, hey, GPT, how can I home remedy this rash I have? It's probably gonna tell you to switch wrists at the very least. It could be a good place to start. Antibiotic ointment. There you go. Yeah, maybe some freaking vinegar. All right, might burn, but it could also help. Do you shower or wash your hands with the watch on? Mm-mm-mm. I haven't bathed in 5 days though. I say. You see, now I'm just like back to like. I don't know if I believe you. What the fuck, 5 days? Yeah, that might be your problem, dude. I like showering daily, right? To me personally, daily showers, lekker, right? And you don't have to have a shower, right? You could just like wash yourself with a cloth and a bucket of water, technically, if you have to, absolutely. But having a little bit of a routine, right? Having a time in your day where you dedicate yourself to just cleaning, it will probably be better than not. I shower on Saturdays. Well, will it record accurately if it's on the right wrist? Yeah, it should. You can even put it on your foot, technically, as well. Might take it off at bedtime. Could also help. Yeah, I think he does try to like track sometimes on Mondays too. I know that you're a teenager, Kid D. And I've heard that some teenagers don't shower. Even on my foot, damn, alien tech. I mean, it's lasers. It's little lasers that shine into your body. And then the light that reflects back, it can use to determine how your veins are doing that. Right? That's all it really needs. Just that laser picking up that signal. I shower every day. Good. Thank goodness. Is the rash real though? I don't know if I believe that either. Sure hope that you don't. I think you have been coming in here talking about the watch for the last while, and I'm sure it's still novel to you. Maybe you're just trying to elicit a little bit more of like, oh my goodness, this thing is now suddenly causing rash. If you don't stink, then you do you. Yeah, I've got a Fitbit on my right and a Whoop on my left. Listen here, Linus. Ain't nobody here for your dirt cloud producing ass. Get your filthy self into the shower. I shower on religious holidays. I shower when it rains. I shower when it rains and I'm in time for that spot where the cars drive past. And then I pretend that I'm walking to work. And then they splash me. Yeah. What's the white part made of? Jokes on us, the rash is on his. Jokes on us, he is the rash on the chat right now. You were loved, little homie. It's plastic and the straps are silicone, I believe. Not on my bum. Yeah, you have ass rash. Yeah, get out it. Get out it, Kid D. You're disgusting. I'm so sorry. Why? Why does it have to be like this? Why can't I just have my poor mind not infected. I'm gonna put this Kalimba microphone on. Stop reading chat. I think that's what the universe is calling me. It's like, hey Mel, stop reading chat though. Quickly. Quickly, stop reading it. Quick. Quick, play Kalimba instead. Oh, quickly. Bathing every day is not healthy. It might not be healthy if you're like fucking washing yourself with laundry detergent, you know? Which unfortunately is pretty much what most bottled soaps are. But just washing the salt and stuff off of your body, right? Technically, if you want it to be healthier, make sure the water is kind of cold, right? That way you don't wash off natural oils too. Just like that, cursed. I haven't skipped that since past 15. Good. Disgusting. And the good knows what I'm talking about. Which one of yes? Don't know to flush the toilet after you've taken a shit? 10 years is one of the worst times to shower less. Teen years is one of the worst times to shower less, especially for us guys. Testosterone can give us gains, but it requires a power washer. That's hilarious, Jai. Now I'm a few ages older. I feel like I got baited. You got so baited. Bro, my grandpa only wipes his face. He's safe. Yeah, Indigo knows what I'm talking about. Bathing once a week is fine, as long as you aren't getting hella dirty. Yeah. Depends on a bunch of factors, I'm sure. Right. I like showering. Right. Personally, I like it. It feels lekker. Nice. Alright, like, yes, warm water on the shoulders. Yes, pss, 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 and I'm like, oh, nice. Like it. Right? However, not everybody has access. I think more and more people will have access as the future begets us. However, I do get it. My geyser in my main room was broken for a very long time, and I could still shower, but I couldn't shower hot. And I would still. I showered cold every day. Because I could. I still enjoyed my showers, even if they were cold. I sold my liver for 8K. Nice. Which means you have 4,000, at least $4,000 to send to me, right? Boom. You know, then I'll invest it in Furbies. Yep. It's going to be a great investment. All of us are going to make so much money. So lonely. So much money, right? And then we'll grow the rest of your liver back. And then we'll sell it again. All right. And then we'll buy more Furbies. Bathing once. Love is true. Offers no health benefits and is purely performative according to science. Yeah, again, I like it. That's why I do it. It's lekker. Feels good to me, right? It's like one of like the coffee. Apparently, coffee has like some scientific benefits as well. But I don't drink my coffee in the morning because it's good for me. I drink it because I like it, all right? It's my little treat to myself. But my mom said I like showering once. I'm in the shower. I fight it until that point. Stabilize and continue the lesson. See what I did? I did a callback to what you read. Then I ruined it by explaining it. Like taking cold showers in the summer. Yeah. I'm getting it. Nah, same. Getting in is a fight against the executive function. For real. There it is. Zhao, kind of like that too. I like how you friends are relating to that. Thank you, Zhao, for sharing these relatable fractals. Maybe I should get the Galaxy Fit 3. I think that's the one I have. I have the Galaxy Fit 3. It was really cheap. Like 40 daras. Alright. Less than 1,000 rand for a watch that does everything I need it to. I've not once thought, I need to spend 10 times as much for a better watch and then it's going to be better somehow. Like, no. Did you do tertiary education, university? Yeah, I didn't. I'm like a cat. I have an Apple Watch with a gold band. It's not real gold, stainless steel, and it doesn't irritate my skin. There we go, nice. haha, and then the water hits, and I'm all like, ah, yeah, it's 1,200 rand. There you go. When I got my Galaxy Fit 3, it was 840 rand. Right? I was like shocked. I get more happiness immediately post shower. The shower talk is interesting. I shower every day, but I wash my hair once or twice a week. I have the same kind of cadence actually, Christy. I don't really fight the water. Kind of like the shock to the system. Same. I like rinse my hair cold as well. So my hair only sees cold water, never piping hot water on top of my scalp. You ever tried an ice bath? I have. Ice baths are kind of nice. They make you feel like you're like sizzling, like all of the terminations, all of the little senses, your ability to feel heat suddenly is just like peaking, sending electrical signals, kind of thing. Same, Christy. I can't wash my hair every day too much. Yeah, it'll get dry as fuck. Exactly. I stopped going to church when I saw the pastor who warned about alcohol holding a beer. Long hair problems, feel you there, Sam. I don't understand how people shower without washing their hair. I'd get my head wet anyway. Might as well do it all. Interesting. Yeah, there you go. Shower caps is one. Joe will like clip her hair to the top of her head and only let the water run down from her neck down. So there are ways the shower cap dry. I wear my hair in a French twist all the time, so I just pop it up and off. Swim in the Lake Superior, which is kind of the same thing. The cold, I can imagine. It is up there, right, close to where the cold is. Lake Superior had big old patches of ice on it when I came here. All right. All right, I need to just like play some instrument, I think. I need to go to the bathroom first though. Please do excuse me. That sounds like an experience. I would actually go, I wanted to go to the cold lakes when it was still kind of icy, but I didn't. I think I chickened out. Winning. I think your friend probably could have heard some things from the other room. But we return. Sell me your phone, Melt. You don't want the old one I have. And I got myself this one when I came to America as well, so I can do these streams. I put my goatee in a braid after I wash it. That's pretty rad, Joey. I don't have enough body perception for that, I don't think. I'd forget mid-shower and dip my head in anyway. What's up, my boy? Got a wild couple of days. Sorry I haven't been on. What's today's topic? You do not have to apologize to me. You are appreciated in this space, right? Whenever you find yourself here, know that you are deserving of being celebrated. Mr. Parkway, Combat Journey. I'm doing well. Today's stream topic is about how hope is a kind of practice, not something you have, right? And the way that the lesson kind of arose for us today is that there's a bunch of stuff in the world that we cannot control, and that the best thing for us to do is to not hope that the world will change in the ways that we want it to, but for us to be true maintain our character, maintain our virtue, maintain the agency of our experience despite the changes that's happening, right? Seeing all change as nature, inevitable, and as a part of that inevitable nature, seeing it as weather, right? The same way we see a cloud in the sky and then understand that it rains, to look at our current society with that same openness and mindfulness and being like, you know what? Just growing pains. It's not our fault that we are the way we are, but it is our responsibility as individuals to be better. All right, that's the lesson we kind of covered today. I did it when I lived in the UP after the first football practice during the 2 days in a high school. I don't know what that means. I will deadass procrastinate for hours. I have to bribe myself with salts and bath bombs and incense and stuff. Then I get in. I remember, oh, I like it. And I soak in there forever. Yeah. That's the way. The topic is practicing hope. It is. I hope Mel never forgets to turn off the mic when he goes to the bathroom. And then I try and be very mindful. Try and be as mindful as I can. I was carrying heavy buckets. Now my arms feel heavy. Well, if your arms feel heavy, they'll get strong, right? That's the way that our bodies build ourselves up. That's why all my shower products are nice products. I really do enjoy the same kind of idea. Yeah, Indigo sounds like good stuff. Some self care spa day. I want the S23. I have one of those, but I got it secondhand though. Go and buy one secondhand. You'll be lucky, probably, to find ones for way cheaper than they came out initially. Can you dislocate your shoulder? Yeah, watch. What? No. No. Why? Muscle failure teaches us how to carry on when we may not seem that there's anything left. About 21st century technology. That's crazy, Joey. All right. Good morning, BSF. Welcome to you too, dear friend. I got to the bottom of comments again. I'm just gonna be playing some kalimba. I'm gonna make myself nice and comfortable. Oh, well, snap. What's up, Joey? Some love is true. Can you play Freebird? Bing, 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 ding, 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 ding. Sure, you could. I just don't think I'm like well equipped to play sheet music, or like I don't play this instrument like I know what I'm going to play ever, right? Literally ever. I never start. Okay, I'm gonna make like I kind of like have the patterns generated in my consciousness as I'm playing it. It feels like a very direct a person to instrument experience, right? Or I probably could, I probably should even get better. I like organic melt best. There you go. Try a story in those. I don't mind processed melt, but the quality does tend to. Yes. Are you having some organic melt living in the far, far future where they've cloned me? Every major company has pieces of my DNA. Not all of them practice the same quality standards. Some of them are completely okay with cutting corners. Got that unorganic melt. Your friends. I appreciate your love. You're hilarious. Organic melt is just organic, pure vibes. It's the best. It is kind of like that for me too. Dry a story, and it feels like I'm just kind of like letting my soul unfold through the little instrument. Do we enter a town in Pokemon? The fact that your friends have these like Minecraft and like Pokemon Town attachments, or I should say, pattern recognizing, feels like I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing as well. It's like usually those experiences are supposed to like imbue a sense of calm and tranquility to the experience. So sounds like you got turned up, right? Watching you with that little hammer the other day was hilarious. Dude, it's tuned up now at least. It is in tune. I still think I could get a little bit better on this one. I love the way this thing sounds. Nope. No. Give me a new apartment floor. He started playing that, and I just started digging without thinking. They're not gonna like this. You poor things. Joey did the same. Irreversible damage done to infrastructure. Organic melt comments. The jeez, okay. You're really doing good, man. It's a keyed instrument, so it's kind of designed for anything to sound good, played together with it, yes. But you still have to have rhythm and timing. Pretty cool, man. I do feel like I have those. Melt, where am I ordering food from today? Let me see. No Buffalo. Yes. It says that you're ordering food from some sort of big box retailer, and you're going to get yourself wholesome ingredients. You know, maybe some chicken pieces, maybe some potatoes and carrots, maybe some broccoli, and then it's gonna take you a little bit of time preparing it all. You can put the chicken pieces in the oven and just have them roll. You know, maybe boil yourself some potatoes, carrots, and the broccolis, and then you're going to have the best meal. It'll serve your body. You do really well, you friends. That's kind of vicious. If you say so, bro, you're ignoring. I'm trying. I'm trying, Kid D. I'm trying, I promise. If you got cloned, I'd ask them all to play kalimba, and I'd know which one was real. Suddenly there's 17 of me, and all of them play the kalimba the exact same way, not missing a single time. That would be kind of trippy. I find it very fascinating to hear from someone who has the one sound feeling thing. Me too. I can't remember the word. One sound feeling, synesthesia. I'm talking about synesthesia. Just go around and leave DNA in places, dude. wait. So do you all have keys now? I have always found kalimbas nice. What's your favorite thing to eat, Melt? Something called biltong. It is a meat product, usually beef, but you can do it with like antelopes, deer, and stuff as well. Then you prepare the slips of meat, slices of meat, by putting it in vinegar. Ideally, like a little bit of balsamic vinegar and some normal white vinegar as well, just a little bit, right? Or brown vinegar also, I think, is better than just straight white. And then you leave it in there with some spices for like the night. And then the next morning, you take it out of that vinegar and then you hang it to dry. And then you don't let it dry too much. You let it dry just enough, right? You don't want it to be tough. You want it to still be a little bit tacky. And then you take that into slices. And then you put spices, salt and pepper, some coriander, stuff on it. And yeah, it gives you like 30 grams of protein per, probably more, probably like close to 50 grams of protein per, I would like say 200-gram serving. It's like 25+% protein content because of all of the moisture reduction. So you get a lot of protein and it's awesome. It's like, I'll literally eat only that. If I was given the choice, I would literally just eat biltong for every single meal of the day. I am doing something like that, but until Saturday comes food out. Well, what's the second best option? Just get yourself something whole. I don't want to be the one to decide. Why are you making me decide what you are gonna eat, bro? I'm struggling myself. Chicken noodle soup. No. You have all the keys now. Like on the kalimba, you used to not play with the outside ones. It's true. Yeah. I used to only play these ones. I think this one resonates a little bit better than my old one as well. I'm making a pound of chicken breast, then I'm using the fond, the chicken stock, the butter, the shallots, and the fresh garlic to make a thick pan sauce that's topped with citrusy capers. You see, yeah. Long buffalo, that sounds good. A lot of steak. I like a good ribeye with a New York strip and a filet mignon. And all at once, I'm going to get that ingredient alongside. That is a spring mix salad with balsamic vinaigrette, a balsamic vinegar, an extra virgin olive oil, Dijon mustard, a spice, or some spices, a little minced garlic, fresh mozzarella pearls, and a diced tomato cherry from the vine. Damn. Okay, Lone Buffalo. Sounds like you're winning, bro. Middle Eastern or tacos. And a baked sweet potato with cinnamon. Damn. I'm gaining so much weight. I've like literally gained 12 pounds in the last week. It makes me look really jacked. But it's actually just like an extra layer of fat around my arms. Maybe it is like pumping my muscles of glycogen. But I feel heavy right now. And all of this food talk is making me be like, you know what? I could be heavier. I could. I should eat everything. Looks at kitchen. It's like, yes, everything identified. Starts eating the carrots. right out of the bag. I have done that. They're technically noodles carrots, however, hasn't stopped me. Good and healthy lawn reminds me some of what a chicken picata, but healthier. I don't know if I know what that is. I am hungry now. Thanks. Successfully prove the point of why we don't talk. If you start gaining weight, Mel, you just gotta start lifting weights more. I don't feel like I have gained too much fat, Parkway. And I'm also very willing to fast. Right. Now you can see there's my stomach. I definitely have some going on. There's some. It's just like I'm getting heavy. I can like feel the water content in my body. It is actually improving my sleep quality. That's the one thing that I'm like really like about, because you can like literally watch as I lose weight, my sleep quality go down alongside it. And now that I gained 10 pounds again, now suddenly my sleep quality is better again. Which I don't like. I don't like seeing numbers like that because it makes me second guess myself around like, should I not be lean? Does my body like having a little bit more mass? And I'm like, yeah, interesting about weight and quality of sleep. Yeah, Nanshi. It's like really stark. It's like you can literally watch the numbers go down together. And as soon as I start gaining weight, my quality of sleep improves. And I'm like, I'll test. When I fast, I cannot sleep. There you go. I also have the same problem, Lone Buffalo. I do sleep, but I sleep very lightly, and it takes me longer to get to the point of actually sleeping. So, yeah, these things might be correlative. Maybe that is what's happening. Maybe because I was like losing weight and getting more lean, I was sleeping worse because my body was in a state of stress or something. Never noticed that correlation, but damn, yeah. I'll show you the numbers even, Joe. You can like see it with me. I was like, this morning was the first time I properly actually noticed the correlation because I've had 3 nights of green recovery in a row. And the last 3 nights, I've been way heavier than I've been the nights that preceded it. My magic bacon runs on sugar. Sugar is bad for your brain. True. It is true. Remember that body fat keeps you warm and sugar feeds your brain. Glucose feeds your brain. And it's not the only energy source your brain burns. So there's that as well. When I fast, I cannot sleep. Getting more weight. You start lifting weights more. You'll just get more muscle and use that weight gain to your advantage. It's true. I would like to lift more weights. I do like my yogas every day. Right, so that's like the biggest strength exercise that I really have been participating within. Hey Zo! But yeah, feeling light in my body is usually my biggest concern. You want out? Come on, baby. Come on. Let's go outside. Yeah. You're outside, no? You are. Yeah. You have already been escaping. Harry B. Hello, Zhao. Let me kiss. Saying I love you. Where do you want to go? You want to go, huh? That's nice. Let's say hi to the friends a little bit. It's probably all the plant pot lifting. There it is. My numbers show the same. How about that, Joe? Isn't that curious? Lone, your body actually needs sugar to function. Interesting that you consider sugar to be equal to artificial sugar. Thank you. And fruit sugars grows in the plant for a reason. It's again a matter of what you use. You're making things up. Make a coherent statement. Gosh. Jeez. That uncertain wave. Like, oh. Come on, where are we going? Happy? You happy? You happy? Yeah, I'm happy. You're like out of frame, dude. You're out of frame. People can't see you properly. Woo, don't worry. It's like, how's that thing moving? Whoa. Hey, baby. Hey, baby. Can I give you some scratch gems? No? You don't want scritchies? Rah! You don't want scritchies? There you go. Give me a kiss. He's a good girl. He's like, oh, wait, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go get cookies. You wanna go bye-bye? Woo! Woo! I did open up one of them. You wanna go outside? Let's take you outside for a moment. Come on. There you go, baby. That's a good bird. That's a good bird. Let's go get his thing. And then we'll make him a little treat. And we really are out. Instantly goes back to screaming. Why am I not surprised that you're screaming? Always screaming. He's like, wanna go bye-bye. Hey, baby. You went out? You wanna go inside? You wanna go inside? Wow. That's too much. Don't yeah me. You're like, that's how many I want. I want too much. That's exactly the amount I wanted. Too much is right. Too much is perfect, you say. Alright. You step up here. Good girl. Is a good girl. Let's move this away from us. Oh. Boom. Now, look at that. Look at all that peanut butter and stuff in there. Does that look nice? Yeah. Let's start with this side. What? What? What I thought. You mean they take care of me? Take care of your pets. We do. We love them. Wait. Give me a kiss. That's nice. That's so nice of you. You excited about this? You excited? You're getting all fluffy because you're excited? Okay, Mel, you've twisted my arm enough. I'll order a Chipotle again. I mean, just get yourself like the Whole Foods, right? I'm sure you can probably get like a decent meal from Chipotle. Let me see. Let's see what they said. They say ignores ketones. Yeah, ketones is another thing that you can use for your brain as well. You don't need sugar technically. Your bird is always in the spotlight. He's a star. He's like, what if I wanted to be over here? You don't need sugar. Your body breaks down carbs into sugar. Sugar, carbs, and alcohol is one different position carbon atom. True. Prairie wolf. Bird is only one that can outdress Mel. He's like tapping me. Ignores ketones. All right. They're birds of a feather, says the lady at work. Take care of me. Okay, Mel, you've twisted my arm. All right. Come on. All right. Thank you. Let's say hello. Hi. Say hello. Say hello. Say hello. Say hello. That's a good birdie. Good girl. Wow. Thank you for the kiss. Do a spin for us. Do a spin. Every time I get my throat cut by his tail feathers. I love getting really spicy tikka and vindaloo. Having it with sweet cashmere. Naan. You want this cookie? This is yours. This is all yours. How can I give it to you? But you have to be a good girl, all right? Just keeps kissing my nose. It's like, maybe if I kiss your nose a little bit harder. All right, let's do a high five. Give a high five. Wow, okay, good girl. Give me a fist bump. Okay, he's like, bruh, I've done enough. All right, I'll give you this, but say bye-bye. Bye. Good girl. Here you go, baby. Here you go. Wow. 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 There you go, Zoe. Enjoy your treat. Sweet. I return. A little bit more spicy and acidic. She's gonna bite your nose. He does that sometimes. But I don't give him a lot when he does. I think the closest one is an hour away from us. Yeah, that's one I still have to try myself. But switched it up last night and got Vinav. Hello, nice synchronicities. He is so confused as to what he needs to do to get the treat. He's like, I'll do anything. So he says, what is this blasphemy? Get me my cookie. So impatient. He's a very impatient Burby. That I'll say. I think it is time for us to pull a card. Yes. Time. Time indeed. Who melt? Oh, the bird. Everybody's hurt about the bird. Bird, bird, bird. You're getting the Oz. Yeah, isn't that cute? The little Oz sticker. That was drawn by Jovan, right? Completely. She did the text. She did the little Zoe body. She even colored him. Like literally art made by hand. When she sent it to me originally, I was like, oh wow, this is such a cute little AI sticker. Nope, she made it. I predict the card's gonna be about hope. Let's see it, Perry Wolf. I feel like that's a good prediction. I wonder what message is gonna give us about hope though. How are we supposed to look at this lens of hope? How will it serve all of us? Buddy, I can't even draw a stick figure. Yeah, I'm also not the most artistic. I don't consider myself at least the most artistic, and seeing Joe's art definitely is an inspirational experience for me every time. All right. Now we will see which card will speak. I was diagnosed artistic. Calling Jovan art AI, that is criminal. It's beautiful. Yeah, I didn't say it was AI. I just thought, I was like, well, these days it's so easy to make something with AI. I wouldn't be surprised. And I still thought it was cute because even if it's AI, it's still the prompter that is the artist at the end of the day. And I still valued her art. And then she told me like, no, actually did this one myself completely. You know, it's impressive. Troll? Troll? You trying to tell me to stop? Somebody tell me to stop. As soon as I see a stop in chat, I will pull the card that my thumb touches. You can feel a stop coming right now. Yeah, it's close. Any second there will be a stop in chat. Lone Buffalo, Prairie Wolf, Apsara's Hands. I don't pull this card a lot. And every time I do, it's kind of strange to me. It's this card of like circles encapsulating circles encapsulating circles. You could say I suffer from severe autism. High functioning autism, thank you very much. The Apsara's Hands. Does this card talk about hope? Card number 25. Achievement and completion. Hey, hoopty hoops. Achievement and completion. Gracious. I know the card matches your shirt today. More often than not, it does, for some reason. Isn't it wild how that works out, Parkway? That always feels trippy, the synchronicity of it, but at this point, I'm not surprised. These cards do speak to us through multiple layers of experience. Right, the fact that it has those same little red flowers, got the blue background, literally. Even that blue is the same kind of blue I have on. And then the green that exists a little bit in the scarf for the plants. Like those hand mudras. Yeah, you know. The universe is aligning to deliver me a message. Are you ready to listen, Lone Buffalo? I'll read you the reversed first. I don't think it was pulled in reverse, but I feel the reversed gives you like a real like, hey. It goes, as you resist completion, you risk diminishing what you have already completed. Accomplished. As you resist completion, you diminish what you have accomplished. Ease into the knowing that everything is temporary and that endings begets new beginnings. You do dress like that. I mean, if you were emo, the cards would almost never match up. Exactly. It's true. Right. And weirdly enough, Combat Journey, I started really dressing this way after I started using these cards. I was dressing a little bit colorfully, but not nearly as much before I had these cards. Probably not, but I'll hear it out. Yeah. Keep yourself open, Lone Buffalo. Achievement and completion. Gracious. Female. Playful deities called Apsaras are found sculpted everywhere throughout the great temple complex at Angkor Wat in Cambodia. 9. Exaggerated hand movements borrowed from these captivating sculptures complement the image of pink water lilies that fill a pond facing this famous temple. 9 is the number of completion. The achievements of the ancient Khmer culture are undeniable. 3 circles offer a sense of wholeness as you contemplate the completion of this chapter of your life. You have accomplished much and realized success in the achievement of your purpose. As you approach the conclusion of this phase of your life, honor the work you have completed and the decisions that have brought you to this moment. It is time now to expand your vision and choose a new path. Each life is filled with beginnings and endings. Even our highest aspirations find completion. Life continues in a manner that is not always predictable. Yet, with an attitude of flexibility and a sense of adventure, you will see that new horizons and fresh opportunities are always available. Look to your future with optimism and hope. No jokes, there it is. Look to your future with optimism and hope. Yeah! Boom! You called it, Prairie Wolf. You called it. There it is. Knowing that magic and new horizons are just around the corner. Look to your future with optimism and hope, knowing that magic and new horizons are just around the corner. Today's dream topic has been this very mindful approach to hope, right? Realizing that hoping for things to be different in the future is going to beget probably a lot of suffering, right? Hoping that there will be new horizons, new things, magic, right? Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. We will get magic, right? It'll be as close to magic as you can imagine, right? There's a lot of optimism and hope to have stepping into this future. However, the only way for us to get to said future is to show up today, right? To build our life, as the Stoics say, action by action, to maintain the integrity of our personhood, our character, our virtue, our agency. And that if we can continue to take seriously who it is and what it is we are, the process that we are here to complete, right? We realize that it's all impermanent. And that even in the completion of this process that we are all participating within collectively, there will still be more for us to do. Look forward to the future with optimism and hope. Like those hand mudras? Probably not, but I'll hear it out. Why isn't it weird enough? Maybe you can let us know. My body is reacting pretty strongly for this card before it pulled. Wowza. Ta-da. There it is. Yeah. I'm not surprised. Not surprised that these teachings come to us the way they do. Looking to our future with optimism and hope. Realizing that the only way to get to said future is to be completely okay with where we are right now. Look at your hands. See them as extensions of you. Your arms. Your arms attached to a torso that supports your head atop of it. Realize that these tools you've been given allows you action in this world. You can type on keys. You can flip someone off. You can tell someone that they have made a difference. Even if that difference is only made to you. I'll let you friends know that you've made a difference for me. In the future, will AI replace us? AI can't replace us, dear friend. The tech giants are actively trying to build what you are. Right? They're trying to build what you already are. They're spending trillions of dollars to elicit from the machine that which is yours for free. Right? It cannot be replaced. Labor can be replaced, easy peasy, right? Document processing, easy to replace. However, the human experience, irreplaceable. That is what you are. It's yours. It's your character, it's your virtue, it's your agency. And that's what we talked about today, dear friend, about practicing the active pursuit of making sure that that is what you hope for. You're not hoping for the world to become a better place so that you may one day be happy. You're working towards what makes you happy, right? And AI will be able to help, I believe, in the future. It won't be able to do the work for you, though. My legs go all the way up and make an ass out of themselves. They're falling at it. Lovely. What you said. Nice knot for the day. Love to you, Prairie Wolf. Go forth and be kind. Trillions of gallons of water. The gallons of water thing is a little bit... Trillions of gallons of water, not exactly. However, I know what you mean, right? Again, they are trying to elicit the grandness that is what we are from the machine. Because what we are is what's necessary. There is not enough of us, right? For us to do all the things that need to be done. For us to meet the ambitions of our future potential with human labor alone. Not only for the fact that there's not enough people to do the labor, but for the fact that people don't want to, right? I personally, and I don't think there's anything wrong with me or it says something bad about me, I personally don't want to be in the direct sunlight, picking up trash, right? Even though I think it would be grand, beautiful, noble to do so, I get burnt, right? Bending down over and over again. If I did that for 20 years, I would like cook my spine to the point where I wouldn't be able to do anything else, right? However, robots will be. Robots will be capable. Google is canceling Claude because even Google can't afford it. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Apparently Claude or Anthropic, the company name, is going to debut. They're going to go public soon for like $1 trillion valuation. So yeah, we live in the future, friends. Half of the data centers are being canceled or delayed. There are humans that are being rehired. Yep. I'm not surprised, right? And most of the data centers will be in space real soon as well, right? So it won't even touch us. The average human experience won't be affected by the data center fractal. However, we'll still have access to these larger systems. It's like water, right? It's like if you have water, if you like build a water treatment plant, right? If there's like a company, for example, that now needs water, and you build a whole water treatment plant, by consequence, the people that have to work that plant needs water as well. And then suddenly the houses get water around the plant too, right? And that's kind of what's happening for intelligence right now. The water thing is such bullshit. I don't think they understand how cool something with water works. Yeah, it's not like you use the water and then it disappears forever. Exactly. Yeah. That's a lot. People have some weird views about stuff. I'd say it's nobody should be forced to do anything. We don't want to. They should spend their time growing their life the way they want to. What are you wearing down from your waist? I'm wearing a pair of hammer pants, as I like to say. Yeah, pants, but there's extra pants on my pants, right? Giving me a bunch of room to breathe. Well, until it crashes back down into Earth, again, it gets dispersed to other places. Again, decommissioning satellites by burning them in our atmosphere, less than ideal, but that's not the only way to deal with them as well, right? And again, if the satellites that we want to decommission are filled with AI chips, there will probably be a whole service that captures these satellites and then sells them potentially to individuals, right? Like, there's going to be industries that arise, right, from the problems that we are creating right now. That's the reality of the human experience. If you look at history, that's what happens over and over and over and over again. All right. And again, we can hope that things will just get better overall, or we can be that which is better overall. All right. We do have that power, every single one of us. So what does that mean for further space travel? Just creating a riskier path. Space is big, dear dry historian. Really, really big, right? Unfathomably big. If you think the Earth is big, if you go 500 kilometers out, it becomes exponentially bigger, right? Every layer you go higher, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And even if we have a whole swarm of satellites that create connectivity all over our planet, there will still be so much space to exit our atmosphere, right? Like a lot, like so much, right? More than you can fathom, right? Just look out. As far as you can see is no distance whatsoever, right? And just look at the amount of clear sky up above you, right? The sky doesn't get less clear the higher you go. It gets more clear the higher you go. They are going to be putting one in the town I'm supposed to move to next year. I'm definitely going to be affected and will be affected sooner anyways, but before moving cost-wise. I hope that there is good that comes from it as well, right? That's the hope part. That's the practicing hope part. Not saying that it has to turn out good, but holding the potential in our heart for it to be. It's consuming at such a rate that it's depleting aquifers faster than they can be replenished. A vast majority of people were disillusioned with their jobs because of how meaningless the work is. Yep. Do you think we have UFO tech? I sure hope so, Shari. Sure hope so. I think if we have UFO tech, we might like have the actual technology, but I don't know if we understand it yet. Part of me would like to believe that transistors, as we have them right now, was alien tech, but I also don't have any proof to back that. OpenAI partners and suppliers have taken on about 96 billion in debt to fund OpenAI related operations. There's a reason for this, Nancy. I think that's the big thing that I feel the average person cannot really fathom. That convincing people, executives, shareholders, board members, to be okay with spending this much money on infrastructure is a hard thing to do, right? And the reason they're doing it is because the writing is on the wall. That these machines, these tools, will change everything. It's going to be one of the most impactful technologies. Like if 50 years pass, they're going to look back at this age only thinking about the fact that we're the ones that brought about AI. That's going to be the only thing they remember us for. They're not going to remember the wars. They're not going to remember the 2008 financial crisis. They're not going to remember COVID, probably even. They're going to remember the fact that we are the ones that ushered in artificial intelligence, right? Because it's going to be a stick with extreme leverage, all right? And we will move the world with said long stick. That's what's happening. The intergalactic travel, then intergalactic travel is possible. I sure hope so. I can't wait to buy myself a UFO. Buffalo is right. We will have a water shortage in our near future because we can't replace water quickly enough. Not that water will disappear forever. Yeah. And again, there's going to be companies. Again, if we're going to create the problem that is water shortage, then there's going to be companies that arises that do desalination. Right? Again, nature seems like very natural to me. I'm not scared, not even a little bit. It doesn't cause me any concern whatsoever. They really don't have a choice. That's the thing. Because they know what's coming. Their writing is on the wall, dude. Indigo, that's why Trump wants Canada for their supply of fresh water. Could be. Just take the Earth, for example. It's so massive, you can't even make a scale model of it. If you took a bowl the size of an exercise ball, a tiny human figure on that scale would be almost invisible. In fact, that human, were as small as a toy soldier, the bowl itself would still dwarf an entire state. Yes. Yes, Parkway, you're right. Thoughts about the upcoming hantavirus. Again, it's another thing, right? The same way that COVID was a thing, this is just another thing, right? It's been out. Hantavirus is not something new in power. It's not upcoming. It's not something new. We've known about this, what, I think since 2012 or something like that. The first scientist talked about the hantavirus, right? And again, does it serve you to worry about this stuff? Good chance we're in an AI bubble, diverse supply people. That is probably correct, Nancy, right? It's probably correct. But again, every single one of these companies building out AI are also building out robotics, right? And all of these companies have made all of their money based on human output, right? So imagine you have built a company on the backs of human labor, right? And that's the only way you can build more wealth is by extracting more human labor, having people work more, code more, extract more resources from the planet, get more clients, And now for the first time ever in human history, that's no longer the driving force for growth. That is where we're at as a species right now. Right? And again, it can seem disheartening to think that, oh, humans aren't necessary to drive economic growth anymore. But that's the hope that I have, right? That's the practice that I have been participating within, of seeing it as a good thing. Not seeing it as a good thing and people don't have jobs, but seeing it as a good thing that people will no longer be the only ones that can do work, right? Right now, that's how it is. The only ones that can do the work is the person. That's the only way, right? But it won't be the way for much longer. Literally 5 years from now, before 2030, there will be millions of humanoid robots on Earth. Millions. And then probably by 2035, billions. And then probably by 2040, more robots than humans, right? And again, we can think of that as like, oh, that sounds horrible. Or we can think of them as like little Zumbas. Not Zumbas, Roombas, right? Little floor cleaner robots. There's already millions of them, right? And they have made the burden that is cleaning the floor lighter on the backs of all of those people. It didn't change anything, right? People are still gonna still gonna want to eat food, still gonna connect with their kids and their friends and their family members, right? That part remains unchanged. The part that gets changed is the part that we don't really look at, the nitty-gritty, the sweeping particles of dust to the corner to not have dust in this corner of reality, right? And then you apply that logic to every part of reality, and things can't help but get better. At least that's the way I see it. It's an extremely high percentage of dissatisfaction when it comes to the return rate of OpenAI. I think it was between 70 to 90%. I think everyone is just hyping each other up, going, no, just trust me, bro. There is no return rate. Again, like there's a reason this is happening. I feel like, again, the level of consideration. We have been talking as a society about artificial intelligence for a long time. Hey Google, when was the first time artificial intelligence was suggested by a human mind? I think it was 1913. No, I'm wrong. 1956. There was a research project on artificial intelligence, right? So 1956, that means it's been 70 years since the first person started researching AI, right? To get to where we are today. 70 years. That's multiple of my lifetimes. Organized by John McCarthy, Marvin Minsky, and Nathaniel Rochester and Claude Shannon, the 1956 workshop proposed famously stated that every aspect of learning or any other feature of intelligence can in principle be so precisely described that a machine can be made to simulate it. This event officially coined the term artificial intelligence and established it as an academic field. In the historical context, while 1956 marks the formal birth of the field, Alan Turing laid the theoretical groundwork earlier in his 1950s paper, Computing Machinery and Intelligence, which introduced the Turing test to evaluate a machine's ability to exhibit intelligent behavior, right? So between 76 and 70 years, humanity has been actively involved in trying to elicit that intelligence from the machines, and we're doing it. It's not a matter of maybe we could, it is being done. Go and find out about mammal. Check this. Hey Google, tell me about the new mammal model that breaks our DNA, our proteins, and their expressions into a type of code, and then understands the whole of the human biome and genome way better than, for example, AlphaFold did. Right? Again, like this is what's going on, and most people don't understand how fast things are happening right now. So hear this. You were thinking of the IBM research that was recently released called MAMMAL, a molecular aligned multimodal architecture and language model. Still building on the same tech, right? The same tech that we have now ushered into our society. It's built on that. However, it teaches these models about our human bodies by turning our DNA and the structures thereof, or at least the expression of them, into a code. Instead of letting this model understand the 3D dynamics, it understands the baseline code of how our bodies run. So here what it's capable of. Alongside similar holistic genome models like EVO2. Unlike AlphaFold, which is a specialized tool with laser focus on predicting the static 3D protein structures, these newer architectures treat all biology as an interconnected, unified computational language. How it works? The multimodal token code. Instead of looking at our DNA or our proteins in isolation, MAML breaks down DNA sequences, RNA expression data, small molecules, and chemical bonds into a single tokenized framework. It translates completely different biological layer into a shared dialect. Context over just structure. Instead of just guessing the shape of proteins, it looks at biology in context. It predicts how a protein actually behaves, functions, and then reacts to a drug molecule inside a living cell, and then whole biome intelligence. By integrating massive multi-omics data sets, including the metagenomic data from the human biome, these foundational models can predict cell-level responses and cross-domain interactions, right? So you're like, what does that mean, Melt? It means we take the drugs that we already discovered as a human species, and we ask it, does it work for this? And it understands how it would, right? For example, the article that I went through talked about it in light of cancer research. So we've had cancer-treating drugs for a very long time. However, the way we discovered some of these drugs is by trying to attack a certain type of cancer, right? Maybe you have brain cancer. So we're like, yeah, here, have this medication. And then someone comes in with skin cancer or blood cancer, right? And then we're like, yo, let's try this other drug because we are doing research on this drug for this condition. And then we ask these models, hey, would this drug help for this cancer? And then it understands. It understands because it's all the same tokenized reality. It understands that it would. And then upon giving an output, telling the researcher, yes, in fact, this molecule would kill this cancer, they test it. We can do that, right? We can grow these cancerous cells in petri dishes. And then we apply that drug and it dies. That's what it's capable of today. This is not foo-foo imagination. This is the reality of the world we're living in, all right? And this is brand new. This one got released, I think, 6th of May. So it's like less than a month old, all right? And I promise you, 1 month from now, there will probably be even better ones, all right? And again, that's insane. It's insane because, again, so much of this stuff doesn't hit our consciousness. We're so stuck in the like outside layers of the problems that we're not seeing the generation that's happening. Ultimately, models like MAML and EVO2 represent a shift from pure structural prediction like AlphaFold to a generalized generative operating system for the entire human genome and microbiome. Right? So yes, we can be like, yo, it's not even doing anything. Yes, it is. It is. It's doing a lot. It's gonna save millions of people that otherwise would have no options whatsoever, right? The only way for millions of people to have had an option is for another human being to dedicate their entire lives to this one small problem, which is, you can't expect that. You can't, because again, if I gave my whole life to solve the problem of one person, and then I do, then what? Job done? Guess I can, usher myself into the coffin already. No. Now we have machines, right, that can compute data sets so vast enough to be the entire human genome, right? That's what they're capable of today. Just today, 1 year from now, we can't even imagine. And that's why all of these companies are racing to build out the compute, because that's what it's going to be built on. The compute doesn't matter, right? It just needs to be there for these models as soon as we develop them to be able to elicit information, right? Wealth, value from these data centers, right? That's what they're doing. They already know the writings on the wall. They see stuff like that and they're like, oh my, oh wow, holy shit, we need to build our data centers. And then they are. That's why they're rushing, because they know the writings on the wall is happening. We have done it. We're doing it. Humanity is evolving fast. Really, really fast. Faster than ever before. I look forward to intergalactic travel, even to that friend who said in the chat, yeah, the Earth scale thing, pretty cool. Hantavirus is spread by mice. It's not airborne. It is a fear-mongering tactic. Exactly. So much fear. Melt, he just explained capitalism. You have to exploit people to gain riches, at least as a way to amount massive amounts of riches. Exactly. And that no longer is the case, right? It no longer is the case. He just explained prairie, the version that's concerning right now is the spread by very close contact, like sleeping in the same bed kind of thing. True. I think top 1% of the 1% possesses technologies that we can only imagine. I think so too. Speaking of Alan Turing, happy Pride Month indeed. Yeah, Alan Turing was a gay man as well, right? All compute, all our technology was made by a gay person, right? I should actually start saying that to people that when I comment, oh, gay, that have problem with gays. It's like, hey, dude, all computers are gay by your logic. Can't get away from it, though. Marshall Luthen, grandfather of cybernetics, predicted the same thing. It's like Viagra originally was like a heart medication. Exactly, right? And we know this. We know that's one of the biggest things that this mammal model is going to be used for, is we don't have to generate whole new drugs. As many of our drugs have already gone through many different processes and then didn't make it to the mainstream because it didn't have the exact effect that we thought it would have. And now, instead of testing those molecules on human beings directly, we now have language models that act as biology, that interact with chemical structures in the way that our actual bodies would. And then you're like, yeah, but what if? No, we can test. We can then test. We can isolate parts of our biology, put it in a petri dish, and then we'll blast it with the chemical that we tested, and it works. That's how all drug discovery kind of did happen before, and now it's faster than it's ever been. Right? That's the divergence, the singularity that is upon us. Sup, my nuggets, Mr. Bumpy Pignals. Pickles? Welcome, friend. It's nice having you here. Have you seen the water supply of local towns and data centers? The water comes out the sink brown. They have to import water outside their homes. They can't leave because they can't sell their homes because no one wants to buy their homes. They can't bathe or wash their clothes, and eventually the water problem will be widespread. Data centers are also placed in water drought areas because they are discounted. Again, Indigo, is that the only truth? Right? That's the question you have to ask yourself in moments like this. Is that the only truth? Right? I promise you. All right? And you can call me out 5 years down the line. You can be like, so Melt, haha, guess you were wrong. And I'll be like, I'll eat humble pie. I'll take big old humble pie and I'll eat it with a spoon, all of it right in front of you. I'll be like, I'm so sorry. I was stupid. I didn't know what I was talking about. I must have mispredicted how things are going to go. Right? They can't. They can't. By the nature of our energy grid and by the nature of the social awareness, they can't continue deploying data centers on planet Earth indefinitely. They can't. Right? Very soon, most of the data centers will be in space. Very soon. Right? Way faster than you can imagine. Because again, it's free real estate. There's a bunch of free real estate up there. Right? So there's no water need because you can dump the heat into the void of space. There's no electricity need because these satellites will be in the sunlight ceaselessly. right? So there's no day-night cycle. You don't need as many batteries because the energy supply is constant, not being taken away by cloud coverage, etc., etc. Right? So right now, the reason these data centers are being built out on planet Earth is because that's the only space that we have. However, is it true ultimately? Go and look. All of the massive companies are trying to rush towards space right now, right? Space travel has been reduced in price by something like 1,000 orders of magnitude, right? It's 1,000 times cheaper today than it was just 20 years ago. 20 years ago, in my lifetime, space travel became 1,000 times cheaper. And very soon, it'll get again another 10 to 300 times cheaper again. All right. Very soon, it's happening. They're building the technology as we speak. There's people racking their brains, right? Giving their entire lives towards that ideal. That's what I'm looking forward to. That's the hope I continue to practice for our species. The story is not over. We are actively telling it, right? And every time we say something into the world, whether it's true or not, it's true for us, right? That's the story we believe. That's the story we're constructing inside ourselves. And I am very willing to admit that these things can be true circumstantially, right? But I don't believe they're true ultimately, right? And it's the big picture perspective, right? Long-term perspective. Where is it where this is leading us? AI in the medical field is a slippery slope because of HIPAA. Also true. Nah, I don't believe that. Indigo. I simply just don't believe it, right? The data doesn't necessarily support that outcome. Again, water shortage is when there is no circular. I don't know if you know, but one of the biggest data centers on planet Earth right now has a circular water economy, right? So they reuse all of the water that's in the system. None of it leaves the system, so none of it can make it to the taps of the people around it, right? And none of it will be extracted from the taps of the people around it as well. America has a lot of water. I come from Africa. You have way more water than I think you know how to use realistically, right? Like, and I do not think the data centers will make a dent in it. We have the technology to get fresh water to these people. We can build all kinds of piping systems from the ocean that can turn the salt water into fresh water, but we don't do it. Because to ask yourself why we don't do these things instead of anything else. Commercial space travel is definitely right around the corner. Yep. Doesn't the vacuum in space prevent the heat from being pulled away from the data centers because of the lack of gravity and airflow? Nope. Doesn't work that way. The void of space essentially is like, it's like nothing, right? It's infinitely cold, absolute zero. It's cold, right? Like space is absolute zero, right? So what, minus 273 degrees Celsius? Really cold, like a lot, right? You can generate as much. I mean, literally think about the sun. The sun is burning out there, right? The sun. And because of the amount of void, right, the only heat we get, it doesn't heat up the entire air around it. It only heats that which it hits, which is the surface of our planet, right? That's the only way heat gets generated. So if you point the satellite, the solar panels towards the sun, here there is cold because there's no direct heat hitting it. So you can just expel heat into the space infinitely, all right? There's no cap. There's literally no cap, not with our current scale of technology. The space is too big. Universe is really fucking big. There's more than enough room for us to grow as a species, right? For us to go through these growing pains and then see ourselves on the other side of it. Hey, Zhao! Welcome back home.
Oh yeah, when I go back, I'm gonna go have lunch with my work friends.
Okay. Love you. See you soon. In Utah, they just sold 50,000 residents to go fuck ourselves, power-wise, to power a data center coming up in 6 months. You think that's the only truth? I'll keep asking that question, Indigo. Is that the only truth? Right? And again, I'm not saying that it's not affecting those 50,000 people, if that's, or 50,000 families. It's not what I'm saying. But it's not the only truth, right? Like that's the big things. Like, are we going to believe it's over? What a shitty thing to do to them. The energy grid won't be able to support all of this stuff this fast, clearly. That's true. I think by the end of next year, there will probably be more artificial intelligence chips being outputted than there is electricity to power them, right? I think that's true as well. The cool thing is, and this is really cool, right? And again, this is the hopeful part of me that's going to share this perspective, is that we can use the AI data centers as a perfect client. So if I have the money to build energy infrastructure, solar panels, wind, hydro, fusion, if I have the money to build that, what is my incentive to build something like that? Oh, maybe I can charge people money for electricity. Then we calculate, oh, okay, how much can I sell a kilowatt hour for? How many people are there to buy these kilowatt hours from me, right? 50,000 people or 50,000 residences. Okay, an average residence takes, let's say 500 kilowatt hours per month, probably closer to 1,000, but right, 500 kilowatt hours, times that by 50,000, and then times that number by the amount we charge per kilowatt hour. Okay, this is how much revenue I can generate per year selling these homes this electricity, right? That's how the math works. Now we add data centers. And then you can see it as a bad thing. You can be like, oh, it's only bad because these data centers are going to take up all the power. That power can be turned on and turned off again, right? You can upregulate the amount of data center and you can downregulate the amount of data centers. And that means that now suddenly there is a way bigger incentive than there ever has been before for the people that do have the money to produce energy generation to do so, right? They have the incentive. They have a constant client, someone that's going to keep buying that electricity from them. Which again, with the whole water purification analogy, if there is water coming in, it doesn't take that much to run pipes to the other residences, right? That's the cheap part. The expensive part is getting the actual investor to build out the infrastructure. And these data centers will make it easier for that infrastructure to start to exist. Like for the last 50 years, America had no incentive, realistically, to continue growing. That is the truth. That's the truth of the matter. That's why if you look at the charts, America's energy generation is almost like flatlined. And if you look at China's, fucking skyrocketing. All right, so that's probably what's going to end up happening. Most of the AI chips will probably be, in the short term at least, the excess at the very least, be deployed to China, right? Close to where all of these massive solar farms are. All right, and then again, what the American economy is racing for is space, because they know there's infinite free energy up there. Free, right? You build the tech, and then you point it at the sun, and then it's free after that. All right, why wouldn't you? If you're a businessman with a business plan, that's what you're gonna do, and it's what's gonna happen, right? It's just a matter of time. And there's no water necessary up there as well. You can create energy and heat from the sun. I need something to make the heat work, so hot and cold doesn't work the same way in space. What is your belief? I believe the point is that affecting these people, why don't they help them? That's the real question. Again, I don't know the exact situation. Maybe you can give me the exact place. Ideally, I can then search what company, what's the financial incentives. We can have a genuine conversation about the whys and why nots, but I need more clarity on that. Dance on Wednesday. We do dance on Wednesday. Melt's still on here. We have been pushing for a while. Compare no. Can someone? I don't believe. He believes and believes. What does that mean, Frankie? I believe love is true. If I have to say something that I believe in, right? But that's pretty much where it stops. What happens to the ocean life once we use all the seawater that are different temperatures at different depths and we deplete it? Then what changes? What can survive? Dry historian, we as human beings do not have the level of impactful tech to make that big of a difference to the ocean sea waters, right? Fortunately, thank goodness. And again, it's going to be insufficient. It's not going to be enough. The only way for there to be enough energy is for us to go out, right, and find it outside. I use Liberty, an electric company in the link. They're shit. They overcharge. Bro, compare the data. Thank you, friend. Show yourself. First, you've got to show what we're going to deplete the water source first. Yeah. I was wrong also. They have a year. My bad. There is. I feel like, again, America is in a rough position of stuff like that. Like just the tariffs that have been put on like solar. Like the average American life could be made so much better just having access to solar prices as they exist on planet Earth right now. Solar is not as expensive as it's made to be in America, right? Like that alone. We have the technology to generate our own electricity, right? Completely independent from the grid, completely independent from how many data centers gets built around us. We have that tech. However, it's being gatekept from us because of economy, because of localizing our own production. And it's happening, by the way. I don't know if you know this about the US economy, but it's actually working. I think that part hurts me too to say. America's economy is actually bustling with a lot of growth because of all of this data center fractals, right? The means of production is being brought back to the Americas. Solar panels are expensive. The problem is the battery are inexpensive, I'm thinking you're meaning. Even the batteries are not that expensive anymore, and they're only going to get cheaper. Park, someone was talking about running pipes from the oceans to run data centers and use for drinking water. It could deplete pretty quickly. No, there's a lot of ocean water. And again, we are in a system. We have an atmosphere, so the water can't go anywhere, relatively. We do actually lose some of it, but we lose a little bit of it very slowly. Like, that's actually something to think about, right? Hey, Google, how much water does the Earth lose by expelling it into space a year? Give me a number in liters. There you go. Yes. The Earth loses about 95 tons of hydrogen and 1,600 tons of helium to space each year. Because this hydrogen primarily comes from the breakdown of water molecules in the upper atmosphere, that equates to a loss of roughly 85,000 tons of water annually. Right? So in that way, we can like catastrophize and be like, oh my goodness, the Earth is getting dry. Yeah, it's been getting dry for 1 billion plus years now, right? 5 billion years. And still here we are, bodies made of water, 70% water, right? Yeah, the water ain't going nowhere. The water's gonna stay here. Good battery start at 8K here. Yeah. It's true. It's true. But again, being able to produce your own energy at home for 8,000 Rand is unheard of, Giddy. Like, that is like literal alien level tech to be able to do that, to be able to like build a little power plant on your roof and then be able to keep your food cold, turn your TV on, run your microwave based on energy that you from sunlight. The sun shines every day. That's the other thing as well. Where I live, there's a good amount of solar panels on people's roofs. Good. More power to them. Our debt is more than our whole economy, and our AI is no longer real money. AI bubble go pop, and we die. If you believe that, Indigo, There's nothing I can do to change that belief, right? We didn't die when the bond market, the housing crisis fractal popped, right? There's a lot of discomfort. Some people probably did die, right? Threw themselves off buildings in dismay. However, that's not what killed people, right? Lack of hope, maybe, could. Water does not disappear, nothing disappears. There's also balcony panels that you can plug into your regular outlet. It won't power your whole house, but it will help. It will give you energy where there is none. Credit card companies were bragging about how much money they were making, bragging about how we're buying even if we have fun splurging. Nope, we're just buying groceries and trying not to die. Even a large displacement could still affect sea life. Think about things like coral reefs that are ultimately struggling. We don't need to add more to it. Humanity is going through growing pains, right? Like a mother, if she gets a C-section, literally having her body cut open to extract this little baby, right? Or having to push the baby out of their, bellies through the natural means, it causes damage. It's been known, right? Stretch marks and trauma, sometimes bleeding to the actual vessel, giving birth to this baby. However, when the baby comes into this world, there is love for it, right? There is the trying to take care of it as much as we can. And I think that's what's happening to our species, not just AI as a whole, but also us, that we are being born into a new generation of our lives, right? And again, there are growing pains. I don't think any of us are trying to deny the fact that there is trauma that is experienced, right? That is the truth of the matter. However, if you're just stuck in the trauma, I can't believe this baby is causing stretch marks. Fuck that baby. I can't believe this baby caused her mother to bleed, That baby is stupid, all right? No, that's not how we operate as human beings, all right? We know that that's not the baby's fault. The baby is also a consequence of a lot of story that led to that moment. All of it's like that. All of human experience is exactly like that. There is no separation. Move out the country. Why did you move out of the country? I married someone. I got married. Go to the doctor. Love is true. GPT is the simp of the AIs. Yeah, it's not the best one. I've actually been using GPT less than ever. All right. I think we have discussed some. We have shared some perspective. I do feel very strongly, right, about the hope that I have for the future. There's nothing that can take that hope from me. Nothing. You can tell me all of the doomsday scenarios, every single one of them, like one stacked on top of each other, and I'll still find things to hope for. That is my character. That is my agency. That is the virtue that I hold to the highest. And that is what I believe is coming, right? Rather to be an optimist and then be proven wrong than be a pessimist and then be proven right. Yeah? I don't think of us as a species should be held in hierarchy to the rest of the planet, though. We need to care for it as it cares for us. She is all of us, after all, though. That I agree with, Trihistorian. But the way I see it is through the ultimate story, right? That the Earth has gone through 6 extinction events, right? One of the extinction events was a phytoplankton that produced so much oxygen that they literally sterilized themselves off of the planet. And that oxygen you are breathing right now. Did you know that? Hey Google, can you tell us about how some of the oxygen we're breathing today was created by phytoplankton that sterilized themselves by creating too much oxygen in the Earth's history? About 2.4 billion years ago, ancestral cyanobacteria, often called blue-green algae, evolved the ability to perform oxygenetic photosynthesis. Oxygenic photosynthesis. At the time, Earth's atmosphere had virtually no oxygen, and the dominant anaerobic microbes on the planet found oxygen highly toxic. As these cyanobacteria multiplied explosively, they released massive amounts of oxygen as a waste product. This triggered the Great Oxidation Event, or the oxygen catastrophe. The toxicity crisis. Because early life lacked antioxidant defenses, the sudden surge of highly reactive oxygen acted as a deadly poison, wiping out a vast majority of the planet's anaerobic organisms, killed millions, if not billions, of organisms on planet Earth. The iron reaction. The oxygen reacted with soluble iron in the primeval oceans, creating massive amounts of reactive oxygen oxides, or rust, that was also highly toxic to the cyanobacteria themselves, severely stunting their growth and then driving massive die-offs of the very population generating the gas. And in this noble Earth, the excess oxygen reacted with atmospheric methane, a potent greenhouse gas, stripping the planet of its insulation. This plunged the Earth into a catastrophic planet-wide ice age that lasted for hundreds of millions of years, further decimating the global microbial population. The survivors of this self-inflicted sterilization events were then forced to evolve advanced antioxidant defenses and aerobic respiration. The very gas that once nearly wiped out life on Earth then ultimately paved the way for the evolution of complex oxygen-breathing organisms, including us. Right? So something at one point in our planet's history literally exterminated themselves, like sterilized the planet of their own existence. That happened. And because that happened, me and you now get to exist. Right? That's the Earth story. That's how the Earth story unfolds. It's not just this one thing, right? The Earth is not going to die. The Earth is going to be fine, right? If we bomb ourselves into non-existence, right? If we drop every bomb that we've ever built all over the planet, right? We'll do damage. We'll hurt some trees. There's probably a bunch of species that will die. 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 years later, the Earth won't remember. Won't even think about it. You won't even be able to probably see where it happened. That's how quickly the Earth will heal, right? So I think of the Earth as magnificent, right? Incapable of being touched, right? That whole spring, the spring bursts forth life, all right? You can pee in the spring if you want to, but it's not going to make the spring stop springing. Research has shown that AI and data centers are not that great for a lot of stuff in general. I could go on. I don't think I could overall accept that. It's not going to be a matter of research, right? It's going to be a matter of actually it happening, right? It is happening. It's happening, all right? Very soon, you will see robots walking around. And the only way for those robots to be trained in a way that they are useful is if we have data centers, all right? And then it's not going to be a matter of like, oh, research said it's not going to be useful. When the robot cuts your grass, all right, that's useful. When the robot carries you a plate of your food, that's useful. When the robot stacks the dishwasher, that's useful. When the robot sweeps the floor, that's useful, all right? And again, the data centers are going to enable that. So maybe the data center itself, right? A chip burning electricity, like, oh, how can that be useful? However, it's how you use that. It's what value you extract from it. It's not just feasible, it's very doable. And if we manage energy use and brine disposal carefully, ocean life will stay safe. Not only that, but it could actually be helped, right, by building proper ecosystems as well, right? Having that like dual action. Yoga bro, just finished getting baked, going to see He-Man. Ooh, nice, sounds fun. Have fun, friend. Cyanobacteria is literally everywhere. It's true, Darren. It is true. They didn't exterminate themselves completely, right? But they died off to the point where they like literally killed themselves, right? They manipulated their environment, right? And that's the kind of conversation we were having, is the fact that, oh, humans are killing the earth, right? Or humans are destroying our ability to cohabitate or to continue surviving on it. Species before us have literally done that. They destroyed their world to the point where they died in droves. And as you said, Darren, they're still here with us as well today. I agree, the earth always heals and people always evolve. Yeah, the earth will take us out long before we will hurt it too bad. Agreed. Earth is capable of going from carbon-based to silica-based life forms. I would like to see that, actually. The sun will either work or not work. If the sun stops working, it's a warp. When the robots break out of the Skynet, data centers near my house, and the world problems with me. Your shirt is really cool, thanks. Internet big sister, love is true. It's harmful when our children don't know how to read. It's harmful when our water sources are being used up and people don't have clean water. Yeah, it's true. Indigo, I come from Africa, right? I understand. There's people literally that don't have water to drink, right? Never mind clean water, any water. I get it. I get it, right? But we're not solving these problems. If you keep going about it the same way, you're going to keep getting the same output, all right? This is something new, and I think our species are still growing. And today's whole stream topic was about the practice of hope, right? Not expecting it to stop over and over again. That was the lesson that kept coming to us. Don't expect. Stop. Stop expecting them to stop. They're not. They're not going to stop. What we have control over is how we apply this wisdom, right? How are we as individuals going to apply what's happening around us and make that our material, right? Make that the thing that causes us to grow. Make that the thing that makes us connect with our individual humanity, with ourselves. How are you taking action in your life day to day to ensure you will be okay? The way that I try to take action is by getting really good at just the fundamental parts of my human nature that aren't going to go away. Never will I not need to sleep. Maybe there will be some sort of peptide at some point, but at this point in existence, I'm not betting, I'm not hoping for that reality. So I track with my data my sleep. And again, this is a part of it too. This data that's being tracked gets sent to a data center somewhere. And then it helps me analyze my biometrics. That's one of the ways that I use my tools, right, to ensure my own well-being. These AI tools that are actively being developed will have the ability to have your genome sequenced and then put that sequenced genome into an AI model that will be able with high fidelity to identify problems that you might face, saving you hundreds of thousands in the future in medical bills potentially, right? Giving you the tools that you need right now to take action day by day to build your life up into a direction that you want to find yourself within. It's bad when people go to college and can't find jobs because AI is taking jobs. In South Africa, Indigo, people go to college and still don't get jobs. There's no data centers. Maybe there's some data centers in South Africa, all right? But our unemployment problem was happening way before any of these data centers were being built, all right? Friends don't have jobs, even though they spent years in college and went into debt for their passives, for their passions with no jobs. Yeah, that's how it is in most places in the world, all right? And it's been that way since before technology too. If you build a hammer factory in your town and people start taking people out with hammers, then don't make the hammer company. That doesn't make the hammer company the ones. Again, ask why you're not helping to begin with. People get AI psychosis because of the way AI is built, because of the lack of education around AI. AI scraped the internet of all human-made art and steals art. Artists are out of a job. You can't. You can't take an artist's job, right? I'm an artist, Indigo. You can't take my job, right? Because I show up in creativity day to day. That is what the artist does, right? You can't take that job from them. It's only something you can let go. You can let go, right? That is what today's stream topic was about. Are you going to let go, or are you going to take responsibility? All right? Action by action, your life is built. Action by action. And then it's about identifying what that action is that you need to take. All right? And it's going to be different for every single one of us. That's the nice part about the human experience. Every single one of us will have a different way of taking the right action to build the life that we want. And I don't see fear-mongering as the action that I will ever take, right? Never will I come into this space letting you know how scared you have to be. It's already over, might as well everybody lay down and give up quickly. I hear you, Indigo. Again, what action are you taking? That's the big thing. Start a business of your own and hire artists to do the work for you. I think everybody is just trying to make something, right, that will take care of them, right? And if you only have so much budget, I don't think it's a bad thing that we have access to AI tools to help us make things, right? For example, let me show you this, actually, Indigo. Let me show you this. There it is. Right? So I don't know if this was made by AI. I wouldn't be surprised if it was. But this was something posted on my sister-in-law's WhatsApp status. Right? So this is pricing per kilogram for beef, warthog, sheep, and venison or antelope. Right? So this is what it was. Right? But because I have an American wife who doesn't exchange value in rand and doesn't know how much a kilogram is, I told AI to turn that into dollars and pounds, right? And sure, I could pay someone. I could pay someone to then do that, right? A graphic designer, for example, to do that meticulously. Right? Spend, I don't know, $50, as you said, of my money to pay someone to do that. However, it is not about that, right? This wasn't a thing where I was trying to make money, right? I was just trying to share a bit of information. And AI allows us to make some information more palatable, right? Where the message we're trying to share with the person that sees it can become more clear than it would have been otherwise, right? That's the value proposition, right? And an artist might not be able to capture warthog. Yep. Look at that dude. It's a type of pig species that lives in South Africa. They have big old tusks. I got banned for some reason. Pond buffalo. Is that another buffalo friend? I'm looking for our other buffalo friends' messages, but I'm not seeing them. Is it you, Mr. Buffalo? I wonder. Let me see. Saw a robot perform Michael Jackson and it fell. Yeah, I'm broke as hell and I'm saving up money to pay an actual artist to do a branding for me because I'll be damned if I have slop do that for me. Also legally, whatever you put into, like whatever AI you use, is not legally yours. So if you're advertising for your business for a banner, that's not legally yours. Did you know that there are local AIs that you can run on your own devices? That does make it yours again. I got removed from YouTube. Dude, speaking the truth angers people. It wasn't me. That's strange. I've been messaging this whole time. I don't know what happened, bro. I create all kinds of art, music, drawing, martial arts, writing, but I haven't made a dime yet. And that's just the reality right now until I figure it out. I've had the same experience, right? I have made a dime making art. However, making art wouldn't pay for my quality of life or like for my food for 2 weeks, right? Barely 2 weeks worth of food. So in that way, I would also literally die if I was relying just on art kind of thing. Buy it, cheesy. And again, that's not a new story. Freaking Van Gogh managed to sell a single one of his works of art, all right? I promise you, there was no AI. Van Gogh wasn't competing with AI. Buy a cheesy $5 landscape oil painting from Value Village. Paint your own aliens, UFOs, extra planets and stars or whatever. Boom. Art. Yeah, exactly. Prairie, that's a thing. Speaking the truth. None of it went through though. Well, I'm here if you want to talk more. We have been doing this for a long time now. I know what a warthog is. I just never ever considered eating its meat. Okay, it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice, actually. I would rather something like write on a notebook or a Sharpie or something than putting it on an AI. That's your derivative, right? I see myself as becoming a part of the AI. Every single time I choose to create, I am making it better, all right? And that thing that's getting better will eventually benefit all of humanity, not just me. Have you heard of the story behind Camera Obscura? A lot called it cheating, but when I was using it for learning, it taught me some of the best artists of the time. I don't think I do know about that one, Darren. Sounds cool. Its own art style, it has scraped the internet, combining an amalgamation of everything in a scene. Isn't that what other artists do as well? Not from your channel, from YouTube. Jeez. Pawn Buffalo, you must have overdone it a bit. I have too much respect for my artist friends and artists in general to touch it, and I'll save up my money to do a proper advertisement and art. I think that's good. That is you taking action, Indigo. Action by action, building your life. All right? What I am advocating for is not fostering any of this anger and hatred, right, towards these technologies, right? It's like hating computers. That's what it's like. That's what I'm like feeling. It's like being an Amish person and then hating computers, being like, fuck computers. Computers are evil. Computers are gonna steal your soul. However, this is a computer, right? This thing that's outputting this feed right now onto your little computer, all right? It's how you use it. That's like, you can use this computer to like send racial slurs on Twitter right now. You can do that too. Right? Doesn't make the computer the bad thing. It just makes your way of engaging it problematic, right? And I think that's what this new AI era is going to show us more of as well. That it is purely a matter of how you are engaging with it. I thank you, friends, for engaging, hurling slurs. Yeah, some people do that. So that's how some people get their rocks off, right? They're like, yeah, I'm gonna piss some people off online today. I can't. I have way too much hope in my heart for what the future holds that I try to be kind wherever I can. I almost brought a mini Camera Obscura instrument, but it was just a tad too expensive for me. I need to go find out what this is. Nancy, thank you, friends, for teaching me new things. I hope you find yourself hopeful, right? Keep practicing hope, right? Not in hoping that things out there is going to change, that they're going to stop building data centers any second now, that they're going to stop caring about AI. They won't. But realizing that you are still the thing that's valuable, that your frame of reference is what you experience, all right? If you change the way you see the world, the world you see changes. I'm glad I caught the end. Love is true. I'm glad that you're here too, Tomo. Have a great day, dear friends. They are so cool, Nancy, and they have a massive history behind them. The overlords have deemed me a threat. Well, here you are still, Pond Buffalo 777. Unstoppable. Thank you, friends, for remaining unstoppable with me. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining the space. Go in hope now, right? Not hoping for change, being change. Yes. I appreciate you, okay? And I'll see you again tomorrow, dear friends. Goodbye now. So much love to you.